Shout out
Shout out to
Gabe,
Gabe.
wherever he be.
Oh, man. We in the building. Y'all know what it is.
Yeah.
The Commander Kings ride again. How y'all fellas doing, man?
What's going on, man? It's a lovely time. We got Commanders log, OTAs. It's nonstop with this team. We better relish in this because it's going to get real quiet after like mid-June.
Oh, yeah. It's going to get dark, man. It's going to get dark. And then all the hypotheticals, all the statistics, projections, and all of that stuff starts to come into play. Yep. But for now, we got a lot of juicy topics. It feels like this offseason is just presented one thing after the next, after the next, after the next. So me and Rio, we shared a joke, and let's see if our joke was correct. Did Ed or Rico watch the Commander's log yet?
I actually did. I did.
Whoa!
I did.
Yay, let's go.
I did not get a chance to watch it.
Ed ain't never watched the Commander's log in his life. He just hearsay. He just asked us about it.
No, I did watch the one where we made the playoffs. I'm gonna watch every Hard Knocks though.
Oh Lord!
In 2027.
Hey.
We'll watch it before the Javon Kinlaw video comes out.
Hey. He had to throw some shade. They're gonna hit somebody with a chair again, right?
That boy Ed got a PhD in deflection, yo. Hey. Like that boy.
They're gonna Ed hitting somebody with a chair again, man.
Lining us up all the time, but he's not a barber, man.
Hard Knocks, I'm watching that live. I'm watching that live when it comes out. Every Wednesday night.
So we gonna get to Hard Knocks a little bit later in the show, because we got more pressing issues to attend to. So OTAs, phase 3, which is when things really get started and they actually touch grass with helmets on, took place. Football. Actually, they actually have footballs. They're throwing them. They're actually playing against defense and offense. Like real, actual football movements are taking place with helmets on, right? So we were excited. The only thing that kind of held it back a little bit was the weather. I know all of us, Rico, you probably got away from this because you're in the A, but the rest of us in the DMV area, it's just been raining all week. It's been cloudy, overcast, raining.
We ain't seen the sun. It's right now.
Yeah. Oh, you getting some of that too, Rico?
Yeah, we getting a lot. It's raining right now. We've been getting a lot of it.
It's been crazy for like 4 or 5 days straight. Just straight cloudy, overcast, rain.
Nasty.
And so they had to do it in a bubble, but I said in the bubble.
That was a good one.
It was close.
Yeah, that wasn't crazy. It was just wild. Okay.
It was just wild. When I said, I was like, whoa, but I said bubble. But then I said bubble. Then I said but.
Yeah, it's not an AO. It was just okay.
Yo,
all right, it wasn't quite Mike Mayock, you know.
No, not quite. But they get their first OTA practice off, and what were your initial thoughts from day one? We'll talk about what was said before and after, because Cliff spoke before practice. We heard from Jayden. We heard from DQ. We heard from Tyler Biotish. We heard from Frankie Louvu. We heard from Debo Samuel. All of those guys spoke after practice. So I want to start with your initial thoughts with OTAs and just seeing the fellas back on the field again with helmets on, running around doing football shit. Talk to me.
That shit gets me juiced up, man. Like, we're not supposed to get hype in May.
No,
we're not supposed to be getting hype in the 3rd week of May, but you see the helmet and the chin strap buckled up. You see practice jerseys. We're watching players run routes, and we get to see Five spin a football again. Life has not been the same since Five stopped throwing footballs in late January, man. Like, your day just goes better. Everything you're doing in your personal life hit a little different when Jayden's throwing a football around. You're watching Debo Samuel, some of our rookies mix in with the veterans. All this abundance of press conferences. I was multitasking. I've been doing side quests out of town all week. I stopped what I was doing when Dan Quinn had his press conference. He stopped the press conference in a halt to say, who was it? Was it Scott Abraham?
Or somebody? Scott Abraham.
of course, who said, okay, y'all were the hunters last year. Now you're going to be the hunted. He said, I'm going to stop you right there, champ.
Yeah.
We are the hunters. We're always going to be the hunter. That is the culture here. We are killers, anybody, anywhere, anytime. That gets me ready to run through a wall. We shouldn't be running through walls before June, Lou. We should not be running through walls before Lou. That, and then I see Jayden at the podium, the most calculated, cool, calm, collective, personable, but never gives you anything. He will never let the media trap him into anything. He gives detailed enough answers. And when I tell you, when his social battery turns off, he get the hell off that podium, don't he?
Yeah.
He get the hell off that
last
podium
question,
when
I
he's
don't
done
even know what
talking.
that shit was. That last question. But he was done, bro. I gave you 9 minutes. Once the PR dude, once he say
once Sean DeBarbery say the words last question, this boy start glowing. He start illuminating. He gets up out of there. Catch y'all next time. But
he was done.
I'm just excited to see everybody back. Cliff Kingsbury looks like he's about to suit up and play linebacker for us.
I said he definitely. He ain't skipped arm day yet this offseason.
Him and Jayden been in film doing curls the whole time.
Yeah,
both of them.
It's crazy, bro.
I ain't never seen Cliff moving like that. But I'm just excited, man. What about y'all, man? I'm ready. I'm ready like this is training camp, but we still got 2 months to go.
I mean, I think it's legitimate though. No, like now that we are one of the great teams, I think the whole stigma behind us getting excited about May was, well, this is the only time you can be excited. You have all of this hope. And nobody's shot down your expectations yet, but we're a team that's supposed to be great. The NFL has even said it with all of the games that they gave us scheduled and everything like that, all the primetime standalone games. So I think we have the right to be happy in May because we have a good team that's set up to win in January. But I love the fact that Dan Quinn, I mean, not only his answer, but the fact that he interrupted him. Like he didn't even let him finish the whole.
He didn't even let him get the word hunted out. He didn't even let him get that word out.
I'm gonna stop you right there. But Beyonce had the greatest video of all time. That's what Dan Quinn did yesterday.
And I really loved a lot of what Cliff Kingsbury said. I'm pretty sure we're all going to dive into it. But one of the most notable things that he said is that, like, we're going to have a lot of mouths to feed. Basically, I forgot exactly how he worded it, but somebody's going to be mad at him all the time. When you have so many great players and great players always want the ball. He even said, I prefer to have a bunch of great players cussing me out than bad players cussing me out.
Right.
So he's excited.
I love that.
I know they're excited and ready to go, man. I know this offense with all of the new weapons, the new versatility that they added even to the offensive line room alone. Cliff Kingsbury, I think Dan Quinn, I'm not even sure if it was the press conference yesterday or a couple of days ago, but he said something to the extent of, I think it was with Rich Eisen maybe a couple of weeks ago. He said something to the extent like Cliff Kingsbury and the offensive staff have been staying up all night most nights, just trying to game plan. And I feel like that's not even like a stress. I feel like that's just pure excitement. Like they're just envisioning 40-point games and, oh, we could do it this way. We could catch them this way this week and things like that. So I'm really excited to see what this offense, of course, they're going to roll it out very slowly for us throughout the entire offseason. And even during the regular season, they're going to show everything by week 4, but I'm really excited because Dan Quinn even said something to the extent of when talking about teams catching up to Jayden Daniels, he was like, y'all haven't even seen the full playbook yet. So I'm just really excited about that.
Hey.
Yeah, no, I thought everything was great. I know we're going to get into talk about some of the guys who were there and who were not. I definitely feel a certain way about one guy, but I'm not going to get into it right now. Who was there, but the guys that were there, I love that Debo was at the front of every drill. Every wide receiver drill, Debo Samuel was at the front. He was in the front and center being a leader. Gotta love that. You see guys, alumni like B. Mitch out there helping Jalen Lane with punt returns, not just Jalen Lane, but other guys. B. Mitch was famous for saying guys were pouting last year during the punt return drills. We didn't hear any of that. Guys were motivated, locked in doing that. So as far as the pressures, like you guys said, Dan Quinn shot down that question. He did a great job with that. So I love hearing that from him. Jayden, I heard Jayden ran off the podium for the last question. He just ran off. So that was funny just seeing him do that. But everybody was locked in. You see the hyped up drills just like they did last year. They do that every practice anyway.
The bag drills,
around. You seeing the energy, the camaraderie, some of the new faces and different things like that. So it was just good to see the guys out there, even if it is 7-7, just T-shirts and shorts out there, man. Just seeing the guys out there getting that chemistry and whatnot. So I loved all of it, man. Cliff talked like saying was like, I'd rather have good players cuss me out rather than bad players cuss me out. So that's just good connection there. And yes, Jayden did bulk up some. It doesn't look like he gained like 10 pounds, but he definitely put some body armor on. So I know a lot of the media was locked.
I think it was overblown, man.
Yeah,
they doing too much with Jayden. Was like, bro, I'm just naturally getting slightly bigger. Like
they should leave that type of shit for us. Media shouldn't be asking him about, hey man, did you get thicker this offseason? And stuff like that.
Yo, they asked him like
three
y'all
dead ass.
What I will say too is got to talk about the swag. I know Rio, you're a swag guy and care about numbers and dressing and stuff.
Yeah.
So the cleats that he's got on they come like that.
The mismatch Grinch Kobe Pro 6s.
Yes.
I know some odd people from a different fan base are trying to say that he's copies.
Well, you can say their name. Like we won't send subs around here, man.
Lord Brunson, what's up?
Jayden's doing his own thing. He's got his own swag during OTAs right now. So I love seeing that too.
Man,
Jalen Hurts not the first ever person to wear a mismatched shoe in a professional sporting outing.
I mean,
by the way.
I swear we talked about that in the Saints game. Didn't he do that in the Saints game? And he switched his shoe?
No, he switched the cleats. He switched.
Okay.
He came out the Grinches and went back to the Jays in that game. But we're like 8 weeks away from Lord Brunson saying that Jalen Hurts is the first black quarterback ever. We're like 6 more weeks. He's gonna run out of things. The forced trend settingness and transcendence on Jalen Hurts. He's gonna be the first black quarterback ever in the history of the NFL.
And then the first black quarterback to win a Super Bowl.
Yep.
Yeah. We're just gonna scrub history and rewrite it. Shout out to my guy Lord Brunson.
Shout out LB. Shout out LB.
I loved seeing the fellas out there. Every time it gets me pumped. But to Rio's point, it means a little bit more. And to Rico's point as well, like it hits a little bit different when there are real expectations behind this team. And you know, I didn't have they ever done this? Have they ever given us access where we get to watch all like 40 minutes of OTA practice?
Simulcast? We've got it for training camp.
Yeah, I've never seen that for OTA practice. I mean, I think they understand just how rabid we are now. Like we're back. You know what I mean? Like this fan base has awakened, and somebody once famously said this fan base is a sleeping giant. Well, they're awake now. Jayden Daniels has awakened this fan base along with Dan Quinn and Adam Peters and Josh Harris is the architect of all of this because it all starts with him. We're going to talk about him in Hard Knocks here in a second because he just gave us one of the most legendary moments of Commander's Log history. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later on, but it's just good to see the fellas back out on the field. Trey Amos with a pick in his first OTA practice. Like, you're getting excited just seeing guys, hearing about guys making plays. Mikey Samer still all over the field in what will probably be, you know, a new role for him. Well, back to where he probably should be as a nickel. So it's awesome to hear about all the good things. We're going to talk about what was said, you know, and, you know, some of the guys have already alluded to some of the things that have been said. But before we can even get to any of that, there were guys that did not attend. For all of the guys that were there, for all of the things that we did love about OTAs, last year we had 100% attendance.
And when you bring in a new program, you kind of needed that. Yes. Before we segue into that, I got one more thing before we get into this, Lou.
Go ahead.
You know my favorite thing. I'm sliding around the league seeing how these OTAs are elsewhere. You know what world I am so happy to not be in? They got a 4-man box score of the Cleveland Brown quarterbacks from OTA practices. Every one of their completion, incompletion, and touchdown to interception ratio from a damn OTA practice. Y'all need to excel and thank the football lords that we've never have to live that life ever again. I don't ever want to see a box score from OTAs in my life.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, big situation either.
Hey, look, man.
We threw 3 touchdowns yesterday in OTAs.
Hey, look, man. We've been there before. Okay. We were clocking guys in OTAs we were talking about Carson Wentz, and we were talking about Sam Howell, and we've been there before. And like you said, I never, ever want to go back there. It is a dangerous place to be, right? But luckily for us, look, we've been through just about anything you can think of, right?
Everything.
Anything that a fan base goes through, we can say, oh, yeah, we did that before.
And
right?
we were stuck there.
Yes. The Browns are a really bad franchise. We were down at the bottom. There were a few teams and other franchises and organizations that were just hovering around. They weren't maybe as bad as us, but the Browns are one of those franchises.
I am in such twilight with Jayden here right now. Like, I am befuddled that the Steelers are fielding OTA practice with the quarterback room they have right now. Like, I cannot believe a storied franchise such as Pittsburgh would put such garbage out there during.
They are literally trying to hype up Mason Rudolph as if the Steelers fan base hasn't seen Mason Rudolph's first 4 or 5 years of his career.
I see somebody say maybe he turns into Geno. No, he's not.
No, he's not. He's not.
And I have Steelers fans, friends, man. They're sick.
Yeah, they gotta be. Like, they literally passed on Shedeur Sanders just to make a point.
Yep.
And the Aaron Rodgers thing is ridiculous. This has gone on far too long. And
they better pony up some picks for Kirk because they don't have options.
It's crazy. It's a nasty situation, and I still think Aaron Rodgers is gonna be a Steeler. I just think Aaron Rodgers does not care for OTAs or in minicamp or anything of the sort, right? Like, that was one of the problems in New York with the Jets was he never showed up, and they were like, bro,
he didn't learn his lesson.
Yeah, nah.
The slow start they got off to.
He don't want any parts of that.
He got ayahuasca and darkness retreats to attend to. He don't got time for this shit.
No, he ain't trying to do that. And he got it from his mentor, Brett Favre, he said, look, man, all that practice shit, I'm good on that, man. If you just let me play on Sundays, I can play till I'm 60. But that practice and watching film and all, that's for the birds, bro.
Yeah, I don't taking any advice from Brett Favre is crazy.
It's crazy work, man.
Oh yeah, he's gonna be a sleazy person in his after football life. Him and Brett gonna be even better friends when he gets out of football.
He might be talking to Brett through a glass. I don't know. Brett might be doing some.
With his stealing ass.
So, I don't know
what I'm saying, Brett. Taking any advice from him is crazy.
It's crazy work for sure. So, speaking of crazy work.
Attendance.
3 guys did not attend OTAs. And again, it's not mandatory. We have to make sure we say this. It's voluntary. And I'm pretty sure there are other teams around the league that have guys not showing up.
Yep.
I know the Steelers, TJ Watt wasn't there. Again, he's more in the Terry McLaurin conversation, right? In category of a guy looking for a deal. So hence not showing up. Kirk Cousins didn't show up at Atlanta's OTAs. So there are other players taking a hardline stance with their teams by not showing up at, again, voluntary OTAs, right? However, and I think this is when it gets real, is when we switch over from voluntary to involuntary, which will happen the second week of June, right?
Yep.
That's when, if these dudes don't show up, now we have a real problem on our hands, which I think everybody's going to be in attendance for that, except for Terry, if the deal isn't done by then. So where do you lie? Like, I don't know if you guys saw Lionel Willingham's rant on social media, but he pretty much went off on the fact that both Marshon Lattimore and Laremy Tunsil were not in attendance at phase 3 of OTAs. He gave Terry a pass, which I think every Commanders fan is like, Terry's not included in this conversation, but maybe he is for you. But for me, I get why Terry is doing what he's doing, and he's built up equity with us. You're allowed to do this if you're Terry McLaurin, because we know what you're going to do when you show up. And he was here, unlike the other two, and I need to point this out. They weren't here for phase 1 or phase 2, neither one of them, right?
Yep.
Terry has been here for phase 1 and phase 2. That is very important to understand and take into consideration as well. Where do you guys stand on the 3 players not being in attendance for phase 3 of OTAs? And if you want to exclude Terry from the conversation, go right ahead.
I mean,
yeah. So Terry gets a pass. I mean, we all know that. I mean, what
Yeah.
you guys done. I mean, you guys know the spiel I'm gonna get into, the quarterbacks, the receivers, everything he's had to go through, and everything he experienced, and not just that. This year had a great year. I think there's a stat that came out. He was the best on go routes, had the most yards on go routes, became even more of a vocal leader, broke the franchise record for touchdowns, helped us get to the NFC Championship game, was one of the few receivers or few people to show up in the Eagles game. He had that touchdown in the first half. Him and Jayden have great chemistry. So, I mean, he gets a pass. I mean, not only that, he's the definition of a commander on and off the field. So they're going to work it out. They're going to make something happen. Of course, we would want it to happen sooner or later. Hopefully it happens before mandatory minis that happen June 10th, I believe. And then Laremy Tunsil, I know Linnell said, I think he said something. He's been on U Street, which is or Party Street in DC. If nobody knows what it is or where it is, this is what it is. I don't know if Rose Bar is there where John Wall used to go all the time, but I know there's a lot of popular spots. Debo went there too, but that's a big thing why I hyped up Debo in the beginning, because I love that he's one of the guys that we traded for, because we traded for Tunsil, traded for Debo, we traded for Marshon. So one out of the three guys was there, and that's Debo, and he's front and center in every drill. So I respect that out of Debo, and I love that. Laremy gets a pass. He's not on the level of Trent Williams, but we know Trent Williams wouldn't show up. We know Deshaun Jackson wouldn't show up. But the thing about those two guys, we know those guys were producing the season. So Laremy kind of gets that pass. But the one guy that I'm really, really, really looking at is Marshon Lattimore. Marshon Lattimore only played in 4 games last year. He played against the Saints, where they didn't have a number one receiver. Their best receiver was Marquez Valdes-Scantling. That was his best game of the season. The Lions game, he had a good game. But the other games where we really needed him to show up, and he shadowed the number one, A.J. Brown, he struggled. Mike Evans, he struggled in that playoff game. I get it. Everybody's going to say the chronic hamstring injury. And even that's another reason why he should have been there, in my opinion, too. He needs to get the chemistry with other guys. He needs to get the chemistry with Joe Witt Jr. He just didn't have a good season. You can make as many injury excuses as you want and say, which are somewhat valid. But in my opinion, that's the one guy that should have been there. And he was not at OTAs phase 1 or phase 2. I'm not going to make it a big deal. But when you don't play well and you're not there, that's when the microscope goes on you even harder. So I do believe he's going to have a good season. But I just think he should have been there. I think he should have been there because he needs to prove more, in my opinion. He just needs to prove more. I get what he did with the Saints and what he's done in other teams and stuff like that. But what we've seen from him is more pass interferences, a 4th and 1 to A.J. Brown. Yes, Saquon Barkley did hold Frankie Louvo on that play, but you gave up a 4th and 1 to A.J. Brown that basically changed the trajectory of that NFC Championship game. That's one of the biggest plays of that game, and he got beat on that play. So I feel like he should have been there. It is what it is. And some people say it may be for a contract, and he has not even played anywhere close to get a contract from this team at all. So I'm rooting for Marshon. I believe in him. I think he's going to be playing really good next to Trey Amos and other guys and Mikey, but we got to see more, man. It's a what have you done for me lately league, and based off that, I feel like he should have been there. But it is what it is.
Rico.
Yeah, I mean, because typically we don't really care about people missing voluntary OTAs. That's why I don't really consider it like a holdout. They just didn't attend. Especially like Myles Garrett over there just got paid the biggest bag possible. He's even missing OTAs. But the Lattimore one is weird, man, because as somebody that's been defending Marshon Lattimore from a lot of the fan base, my excuse was, if he gets healthy, if he gets more time with the defense, if he learns the defense, y'all are going to see a different version of Marshon Lattimore than you saw for a few games last year. And then he's not here when everybody's working on trying to get their chemistry together, learning their sides of the football and things like that. So it's almost like you have to eliminate that excuse, because if that really mattered that much, he would be here. So Lattimore is the only one I kind of have a problem with. It's nothing too crazy. If he starts missing mandatory minicamp, that's when we hit the panic button. But it's still weird because out of the 3, he's the only one that's not really, I guess you could say, holding out for a potential contract right now. I mean, he has 2 more years on his contract. He's not a free agent until 2027. So I would hope not, especially like Ed said, the guy hasn't even really proven anything here. I'm excited about his potential, but based off of what we saw last year, he wouldn't get much money from anybody right now. Right. So I think he should be there because you need to still gain chemistry with the secondary around you. You and Trey Amos need to be plugged in, like locked in with each other. He's a rookie just coming in. You need to be helping him out so he can be ready by week 1. Not even just getting yourself better. You need to be helping guys like Trey Amos and the guys around you get better as well. So again, if he's not there, mentor minicamp has hit the panic button, but I'm still looking at him a little weird for not being there right now. Again, because to the point that Terry has been there up until like the past couple of practices. So that's where Laremy Tunsil and Lattimore is like, what are y'all doing? Remember Chase Young used to just find random places to work out for no reason, just anything but the Commanders. He'll just work out somewhere else.
And then Montez Sweat. So Montez was like, yo, my granddad got a birthday party.
You street legends right there, man.
I can't be there. I had to celebrate with my family. I was like, hey, bet it is what it is, bro.
Family feud.
Yeah,
man. Chase missed OTAs to shoot an eBay commercial the world never saw.
Yeah,
Jayden Daniels got more commercials and he's still there.
Wow. No excuses. None.
We know Laremy wants a deal. I know y'all saw his story on IG with the dude slapping the card down. So he's clear, but he made that abundantly clear.
And the plantation presser.
Yes, I was looking for plantation the iced tea, right? That cold glass of iced tea to be brought to him while he was sitting out there.
That boy was sitting in front of the juke joint from Sinners, bro.
I was waiting for them to be like, boy, get back out there in the field. I was waiting for somebody to come out there and tell them to get off the porch. But what do you think, Rio?
I'm not panicking about any of the above. Starting with Terrence, we already know the vibes with Terry. He's gonna get his 3 years, $95 million or something in that relative ballpark. He's gonna get his money, and there's a good chance he could get it before mandatory minicamp start. But we know what Terry is. Him and Jayden have a brilliant connection between the two of them. That's a stand-up individual. Nothing to see there. Going to Laremy Tunsil and Marshon Lattimore. So I inquired with some of my boys that are Houston Texans fans, and I was like, does Laremy Tunsil show up ever in the offseason? He was like, listen, man, he moved different in the offseason, but he always shows up in shape and ready to go when it's time to actually He was like, when he's supposed to be there, he'll be there.
All right.
And then we go over to Marshon Lattimore. He's the most interesting of the three. Marshon Lattimore don't look like a person that ever stays at work past 5 o'clock. You know, like 5:01, don't speak to me.
Yep.
I'm not coming to the company potluck. I'm not coming to the holiday party, birthday party. Do not invite me out to Applebee's with the crew. Like, he just seems like he just shows up, does his job, and goes home.
Yep.
Here's the only, if I was to have an issue, it would be with him, because it wasn't great when he was on the field last year. We know he's more capable than what he showed. We know he didn't really have a couple month stretch of games to prove it. And the games where he actually played well, like you were covering Tim Patrick versus Detroit. Like you were seeing Tim Patrick for most of the night, not Amon-Ra and J-Mo. So, and then my lasting memory of Marshon in the 2024-2025 season was the damn play that entered the slippery slope of bad things for Washington. The 4th down play that I think officially lost us that game, because the game went to hell after that. 4th down, you look like Emmanuel Forbes on that play. It looked like reminiscent of Emmanuel Forbes' rookie year versus A.J. Brown. You get a stop there. Jayden gets the ball at the 50 with time to score a touchdown before the half, and it's a whole different ball game. But I'm not concerned about these guys, but for a guy whose hamstring was probably falling off the bone at some point last year, never saw 2 healthy hamstrings. We draft a high cornerback in that room. Mikey sliding back inside. The cornerback room is one of the few rooms on this team where communication matters, and you got to start building that rapport. You got to start watching film together, lifting together, speaking, and working out how things are going to work, because the cornerback room is going from a weakness to one of our strengths on this team. So that cohesion with those guys, I mean, it's OTAs, practices, but if there's a guy of those 3 that needs to be there because we need to know what he has left in the tank, it's Marshon Lattimore. But I don't think it's contractual. He just does not strike me as a guy that shows up to anything unless he has to be there.
Yeah, I think people tried to make it a contract thing because he has no guaranteed money next year. And the deal he signed looks like chump change now, which is a great deal for us. But I think his is just, I talked to some Saints fans. He didn't show up for OTAs there either. So this isn't like something that he is just doing here. Like, and like you said, like when you look at Marshon Lattimore, he looks like one of those dudes that I'm here so I don't get fined. Right. Like I really don't want to talk to the media, but I have this obligation. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it real quick. But when it's time to show up, he'll be here. Again, I don't think we're gonna have this issue come 2 weeks in June. They'll be here, right? So I'm not worried about any of it. But I will say, of the three, he's the one that we're looking at sideways because, like Laremy Tunsil, we expect him to play well once the season hits. Terry, we already know what he is. He's not even in this conversation. But Marshon, we saw him last year, and it didn't look good. And I thought Lionel Willingham was a little over the top talking about he's a cut candidate. Like, he's okay, chill, bro. Right? Like, but I understand the frustration for some of those fans who think he should be in attendance. My thing was never about the actual play on the field in terms of being here for OTA. My thing was, bro, I just want you here so the staff can lay hands on you and we can get a plan together to make sure that you're healthy this season. That's what I was mostly concerned about. Like, how do we make sure that whatever you did last year and the year before that, and let's do something different? Because you staying away from the team in the offseason clearly hasn't worked in terms of you staying healthy for the entire duration of the season. So let's try something different here. Let us put a plan of action together for you to go out and execute, and let's see how this is working. And that's what I more so was, because I think when he's healthy, he's going to be fine. But it's about staying healthy. And I thought that him being here around the team, around the staff, the training staff, the medical staff, and putting together a plan in place would be beneficial to him, maybe staying healthier than he has been, the last 2 or 3 years. But he's going to continue to do him. Like Rio said, he definitely strikes me as one of those guys that wants no parts of camaraderie, right? Like we talk about the brotherhood. Hey, I'm all down with the brotherhood from the time I show up at 8 in the morning,
9 to 5, baby.
Yeah, to the time I leave at 4:30. But once the time that I am obligated to stay hits, peace. I'm not staying after playing ping pong with nobody in the locker room.
Hey, I'll catch y'all, yo.
Yeah, I'll see y'all tomorrow, right? So don't invite me to the DB's cookout. Nah, I'm good. I'll see y'all on Monday, right?
Cool. Hey, y'all tell me about it though. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Let me know.
I think we're gonna be fine. I think it's not as big of an issue, but I totally understand why people have, a grievance with both of those guys in particular, the ones that haven't proven it here. But Tunsil made it abundantly clear when he got here in his Zoom conference call that he wanted an extension. He didn't say it, but he implied it in every way possible without actually saying it out of his mouth. He said, they know where I stand. So,
and with what we gave up for Laremy Tunsil, I would imagine an extension is coming.
Yes. And that was going to be my next question. Of the three guys, do you foresee an extension coming for them this offseason? I think I don't even need to ask you about Terry. We all know the extensions coming this offseason. Is there an extension possibly for Laremy Tunsil?
Oh yeah. I think Tunsil gets the either late July, August extension. I think he gets an extension before the season starts. Marshon, hell no. Hell no. We need to see you. We need to see you back on in your element again.
Yeah. I was one of those people that said maybe you should wait to see how he performs because he's got 2 years left on his deal. Lattimore has 2 years left on his deal. So I was like, well, maybe we should just wait and see and then pay him after this season just to make sure we're paying for the goods that the Texans got, right? But there's a point to getting out in front of that train. You wait till the end of next year, and now the price has gone up substantially, right?
Like $31 million for Tunsil. Yeah, because right now Tunsil, you got to put him in the 27, 28 million range.
Right. So I think waiting might be it might be costly, right? If he does the things that, and he said, like, I've never been an all-pro, but playing with Jayden Daniels, I might be able to finally get that all-pro nod. And if that happens, the price goes way up.
Oh yeah.
Today's price is not tomorrow's price.
The price of the brick has gone up.
The price of the brick has definitely gone up if he goes all-pro, or just makes another Pro Bowl for that matter. So I think it might be wise to probably pay him. I've seen the error of my ways. I think paying him sooner rather than later makes a lot more sense. What says you guys? Y'all agree with that or no?
Oh, yeah, I super agree. I think go ahead and get Laremy Tunsil out the way before he becomes way more expensive. Because not even just the fact that he's going to play well, that's a big part of it. But somebody else is going to reset the market before he does as well if we wait to sign him until later. So you're going to have to pay him more than the highest paid tackle is making right now, just off of another tackle that gets paid later on. And then plus he might make an all-pro. So he's going to be like, well, if that guy just got that much money, I definitely deserve this much money so it can get out of control.
Right.
And Lattimore, I mean, if he ends up balling out and then we got to pay him a lot of money because of it, so be it. But I wouldn't pay him any money before this season starts.
Yeah, so Lattimore's getting no money this offseason, but Tunsil he made. So I'm looking at
Ed Tone hilarious.
Hey, Ed about to put this man in the B-Rob category, man.
Talk like a straight businessman, but straight to it, man.
That man say he gets no money.
Right.
Just tore up his little suggestion box note.
But no, I'm looking at the contracts and the salaries right now. So, of course, Trent Williams is the highest paid guy right now. Laramie's at 25, so he's not far off. He's actually the third highest left tackle right now. Darisaw is above him with 26. But you look at other guys like around his age, like Ronnie Stanley just got 20 mil. He's 31. He's playing for the Ravens, of course, and he had a couple good years. So he's not underpaid. It's not like it's not as bad as like the Trey Hendrickson situation where you saw Myles Garrett get what did he get, 40 mil per year, and then Crosby's getting 35. So he's actually really still high up there. He's top 3. He's only $2 million away from Trent Williams at this point. But to you guys' point, where there's a high possibility where he could be on All-Pro, playing behind Jayden Daniels, because he makes the offensive line better. Like we saw how much better he made guys last year because he gets rid of the ball so quickly. His mobility, his escapability, all that stuff is such a huge factor for the offensive line. So, yeah, you want to get in front of it before he does get that all-pro nod. And when you win, not the Texans did win last year too, but when you're in a heavier spotlight, which we are more now than the Texans or really almost any other team in the NFL with 8 to 10 standalone games, whatever the number is, Frankie Louie got an all-pro, Eckler got an all-pro, Bobby Wagner got an all-pro. So the all-pro nod definitely could be easier for Laremy Tunsil to finally get. And you're looking, instead of 25, maybe he would reset it at 30. Or Darisaw may reset it again before him. And that's where he's going to be like, hey, I need to get paid. Or somebody like Andrew Thomas is at 23. Jordan Mailata is at 20. He's at 22. So you probably want to get ahead of it before it happens.
Yeah, Tristan Wirfs is at like 28 right now.
I thought he had leapfrogged Trent. I thought.
Yeah, I think like Tristan Wirfs jumped up at like 28 and a half or something like that.
It's barely ahead of Trent, I think.
But, yeah, I'm looking at only right tackles, but yeah, Wirfs is at 28. Penei Sewell is at 28.
Yeah, so those two.
That is what Laramie Tunsil has his eye on.
Right, exactly. And he's his own agent too, right? Like Bobby Wagner's his own agent. He's his own agent, so he ain't going for no nonsense either. He knows what his market value is, and I think that's why it might be important to get it done. And to Rico's point, if somebody else jumps those guys and gets to 29 or 30, now Laramie's going to want that, right? We saw that happen with Tyreek Hill and the Chiefs. He was about to take a deal to stay in Kansas City, and then all of a sudden, Devontae Adams got that crazy deal from the Raiders.
Nope.
And he was like, whoa, wait, what? Oh, no. Yeah. The price has just gone up, right? Yeah. And then the Chiefs was like, well, boy, we can't do that. So they had to trade him. So You don't want to get yourself into that kind of situation. So I think that's something that they will definitely discuss this offseason. So let's talk about the press conferences and what people had to say. I don't know if you guys caught wind of some of the media scrums with Oos or Debo Samuel. Tyler Biotish also spoke, but DQ in particular and Cliff, let's talk about what they had to say. Cliff talked before the first practice, and a lot of what he said, I mean, he even insinuated that Jayden's arm got stronger.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. He talked about, and Rico talked about something that he said, referring to it's not going to be like when they talked about the rookies in particular, Jalen Lane and Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. And he said, look, man, it's only one football and they got to get in line. Like, we got dudes here. Like, he said that getting Noah Brown back was like one of the biggest moves for them this offseason offensively, was like, aside from the offensive line upgrades and things of that nature, but in that wide receiver room in particular, he clearly loved what Noah Brown did for this team last year, and he was elated that he was brought back. So anything that Cliff said stuck out to any of you that we haven't touched on?
The Noah Brown thing, definitely. All right, Lou's having a little technical difficulties. Are you back, Lou? You good?
I was. Yeah, I didn't know I was having any.
I think the Noah Brown thing definitely stood out to me. Like, effort to say, are we good right now? Are we straight? Y'all hear me? Am I good?
You froze on us for a second.
Yeah, but you good now.
Yeah, you good now.
Okay, because this joint been. Okay, but Noah Brown, I did not expect the Noah Brown shout out at the Cliff Kingsbury press conference at OTAs. He spoke on him for a little bit and how he performed for him, and he stepped up big last year in a room where nobody really wanted to take the number 2 receiver job. And then guys like Olamide Zaccheaus found a new home and stuff like that. He spoke on how it's a good problem to have. They said I'm using Cox cable. Don't do me like that. Don't do me like that. They said they said that.
Bro, I almost spit my water out when I saw that.
AOL dollar, bro. But it's a good problem.
Nah, man, said you still using Cox cable. I remember them days, bro. I could barely make it through a live stream messing around with Cox, bro.
You couldn't phone and internet. You couldn't phone and internet at the same time, man. Crazy times.
Boy,
crazy
Lou,
times,
wild boy, bro. Lou, you tripping.
And Cliff looks good, though. He's jacked as hell. He looked like he's gonna check in the game.
Lou, you tripping, bro? Yeah.
What a good joke off. Hey, McDonald's 5.
What was you doing, Lou?
Come again, Lou.
Yeah, I beg your pardon.
Hey, you weren't supposed to say nothing.
Now that one was too crazy for me, bro. That was too direct. Like it wasn't even one of those you got to think about it. That was.
Oh man,
ooh,
that was crazy. Go ahead, Rio. Finish what you.
Oh no, please.
Oh man,
but Cliff was who he always was. He had his guns out. He means business, and he was talking about. I can listen to them talk about Jayden Daniels all day about how he attacks the offseason. He texts him and hits him up, and his mind. Even when he turns his football brain off, his football brain is still on, and they text and they talk about all kinds of things. He sees ideas and new wrinkles he wants to add to the offense. Just such a professional operation. We're not used to shit like that here, man.
Yeah. I think something else that stood out to me was he talked about why he came back, and he talked about the importance of the DQ said that Adam Peters calls it the ecosystem that they've created, where it has made it a place that guys want to come to work. And the staff enjoys working with one another. They enjoy the camaraderie. There's a level of communication there that I think the transparency between DQ, the staff, and the players is phenomenal. and Cliff is taking notes. He's like, this is it for Cliff. I hope y'all understand that if the right job comes available, Cliff is gone after this season. He's learning everything that he can. He's soaking up all of the information because he sees a lot of himself in DQ, right? Where DQ had that first run. Obviously they went to the Super Bowl. They didn't win it, but, he was cast aside and he went and into Dallas, bought his time there, learned a lot from how they did things in Dallas, took bits and pieces from what they did and waited for his second opportunity and got it. And he's taking full advantage of it. And I think Cliff sees a lot of what DQ did in himself. And he's like, even last year, he said something to the effect of he's learning how to be patient as a play caller. Like, he wants to throw it all the time because he's a former quarterback. And DQ's like, yo, you got to run it, bro. You got to run it. And he's learning to be patient. He's learning. He said one of the things he struggled with in Arizona that he sees from DQ is being more of a people person, right? Connecting with the players on a personal level. And so you can tell Cliff is really studying, taking notes, and he kind of talked about that at the beginning of his press conference. So you love it that guys want to be here, right? We not holding a gun to anybody's head. We're not holding anybody hostage. They want to be here. Like, there were opportunities for guys to leave. And, the only guy that they said you can't have him was David Blau, right? I think Jacksonville wanted to interview him for a quarterback's coach job. And they was like, nah, can't do it. But outside of that, everybody wanted to be here. Everybody wanted to come back. And that's a testament to DQ. And Cliff kind of spoke to that. Y'all got anything else on Cliff?
Yeah. And to add to that, too, for Cliff, didn't he say at some point something to the extent of, like, Laremy Tunsil is your starting left tackle, but after that, everybody else is competing.
Yeah, I was like, that was a little odd because we know that Tyler Biadasz is our center, but I don't think he was like getting into the spit. Like, he's just what he was trying to say was that it's competition because we all know Tyler Biadasz is our starting center.
Hey, they massaging that relationship between Tunsil, you know what I'm saying? They warming them up. You see what
you on the struggle bus, bro.
Jobs for you.
Yo, Rio.
I'm still lagging. I'm still lagging.
Your mic had like some air behind it. Like
you really was on some dial-up shit just now. It went,
word.
You remember that?
Am I straight now?
You good?
Everything on my end says it's good.
We could hear you too. Like, we could hear what you were saying. It was just like crazy.
You know that
radio signal.
They have me out in outer space and shit.
Yo, they are killing you in the comment section. They are crushing you, bro.
I don't know what's going on, man.
Thank you
over here with Verizon.
Thank you for the distraction, bro. Because I was extremely flagrant. So thank you for taking the attention off of me. Yes, he did say that though, Rico. And I did find that quite strange, but I don't think he was insinuating anything about Tyler Biadasz because I took it the same way you took it. Like, what? Like, two of the spots are spoken for, right? We don't know who's going to be the left guard. We assume it's going to be Brandon Coleman. We don't know who the right guard is going to be. We assume it's going to be Andrew Wiley until Sam Cosmi comes back. And we assume it's going to be Josh Connolly Jr. at right tackle, but we don't know that. He could end up being at right guard. He's going to start somewhere. We just don't know where. So I did understand. I did take it that same way that you did. Jayden spoke before we get to DQ. Any takeaways? Do you have something? You got something on?
Yeah, no, you guys had everything. I was going to bring up the whole culture thing, the reason why he came back. But to your point about the competition, so not a big deal. But Wiley did take first team reps, and Coleman was at left guard. Obviously, Cosmi's not there. Like, Trent Scott had to take left tackle reps because Laramie's not there. So that was kind of the rotation. So it's just something to take a look at. But yeah, the competition thing is real. They do want Connolly to earn it. He was the backup of right tackle. I think he played a little bit of guard too, OTAs too. So they're just trying things out. But no, Cliff had nothing but good things. The cussing out thing is definitely it's a good problem to have when you have more weapons. And Noah Brown too. He led the league in pass interferences, which is nothing to forget about. Like, he did a good job of that. And that's huge. On a third down, if you force a pass interference, what is it? It is more than a 15-yard penalty sometimes or whatever. You get the ball at the spot, I believe. So, I mean, that's huge plays that Noah Brown made last year. And I think he's better suited to be a third option. I mean, and some people don't say Debo's a number 2, but he's clearly going to be our second option. But I think Noah Brown suits better to be our third option. And Jayden definitely zeroed in on Noah a lot. But I love that Cliff is back. I mean, that's a huge part that Jayden doesn't have to learn a new offense. And they're going to add more stuff to their bag. So I love that Cliff is back.
And one last Cliff thing too. When he talked about Deebo Samuel, he sounded like the type of guy that's just happy that instead of having to go against him, now he's on my side. So he sounds really excited to work with Deebo Samuel, not even just because of a talent, but he's just like, man, I mean, being on the other side of that is not fun. And so I'm happy to finally have that on my team.
Yeah, for sure. And it was funny.
Southeast McDonald's.
He said Southeast with the F, bro.
The modem is haunted. Got me.
The modem is haunted, bro. That shit was crazy. We can hear your voice, but you know how it goes, and then it goes.
It shit sounded
like a sound just test. Like that, and you were still talking. That shit was crazy. Somebody said he used a cricket wireless hotspot.
That's your PCS.
Hey, not cricket wireless hotspot. Hey, stop it,
Bring
bro.
Off the game, boy.
Look on Vonage.
Damn. All right, so we heard from Jayden, right? What are your takeaways from Jayden's presser? Just a shade under 10 minutes. And like Rio said, not a second more. As soon as he got to that last question, they tried, John Kahn tried to throw a funny out there. He tried to make a funny. Jayden was like, nah, bro. I don't even know what he said. I rewinded twice trying to hear what he said. I couldn't hear it. I thought it was like a basketball thing or something because, Jayden loves basketball, but he wasn't going for that shit. He was up and he was like, I'm out. So biggest takeaways from what Jayden had to say, if there were any.
It was a typical Jayden Daniels press conference. You know, he gives you enough. I love that Candy asked him how he's doing mentally.
Yes. Oh my God, that was my favorite question. That was my favorite question.
Yes.
So it was nice that somebody in
happened again. Oh no.
What is happening? What is happening right now?
That time you froze. Froze.
Bro.
I have no idea what's going on right now. I just ran a whole test. That's good. I don't know what the hell is happening. I'm about to leave and come back.
Okay. All right.
He about to juke the internet lag.
Hey, go ahead, man.
Got confused. But now, one of the main things I love that Jayden said, like one of y'all briefly mentioned it right before we moved to Jayden about how I think it was Ed that he even acknowledged the fact that he's gonna be more comfortable in the offense now that he's going into year 2. And I don't think people understand how monumental that will be. I mean, he balled out year 1, but I don't think people understand how much, like, people talk about sophomore slump and teams catching up to him and things like that. But him being in the same offense for 2 years in a row, you saw the jump he made at LSU. Being in the same offense from the first year at LSU to the second one. He already had a great rookie season. Imagine what he's going to do this next season where Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury keep insinuating like we haven't even used the entire playbook yet. Now you're adding extra pieces. I mean, having an offensive lineman and Josh Connolly that can catch touchdown passes and catch a wildcat on the goal line. You have Jalen Lane that can throw a pass, can run it in for a touchdown, catch a touchdown, return one for a touchdown. So and that's just what you added this offseason alone, just from the draft. So I don't see Jayden Daniels taking a step back. If anything, I see him only improving because now instead of learning the playbook all training camp, they're just taking what they already know from last year and building on it to make it even more advanced. There's no way teams could. First of all, teams never really caught up to them last year anyway. They had the entire season, and the only reason the NFC Championship went the way it did is because the offense couldn't block and kept fumbling. It was nothing Jayden Daniels wise, and the defense was terrible as well. But the Philadelphia Eagles didn't even figure out Jayden Daniels. They played him in the NFC Championship game. So I don't see why people think with another offseason why he won't take it to another. Why does Jayden Daniels have to stop and then everybody else just gets to improve?
Yeah. It's crazy that notion continues to fly. It's a lazy, low-hanging fruit narrative. I love it though, because it's gonna look crazy when he goes out here and tops what he did in his rookie season. You wanted to finish what you were saying, Rio? Go
ahead. Yeah, was it Cliff that said something about we ran into some ball handling issues near the end of the season last year? Was it Cliff?
Yeah, I think he did. He said he wanted the
someone
unit to be
said it because somebody was
security.
like, closer to the end of the season, we just started running into ball handling issues. But
I think they asked him what did he need to work on. They asked Jayden what Jayden needed to work on. I think he said something about ball handling.
Yeah, someone in the chat has said Cliff just be glowing like that new parent glow when he talks about Jayden. Because Jayden just checks so many damn boxes on the field, off the field. He even told the media a couple times, like, nah, that's between me and Debo. I'm not giving y'all none of the great secrets. Like, he doesn't go for any of the big. Y'all talk about his mama being too close to the situation. She raised such a media savvy and cognizant young man. And every time he goes to the podium and the interview he did with Cobra Jr., dude that works for the team, like he never gives too much of anything. He gets in, he gets out, gets the press conference over with, man. It's a joy to see a professional that's actually great at what he does conduct himself on and off the field, man.
The glow up is real for him when he talks about Jayden. That man had a lazy eye last year when he got here, and after coaching Jayden for a year, I mean, Cliff looks like a whole new man, bro. Like again, that's what. Because remember, he was out of football. Like people forget, he was out of football for a year after he got fired. He came back and was at USC as like an assistant coach or whatever. And he got back into the NFL and he was trying to figure it out. Like, where do I fit? And he found the perfect fit. And could you imagine and I know he's probably saying to himself, could you imagine what would have happened if I would have took the Raiders job instead of this job?
Oh my God.
And who would have been our offensive coordinator? Like, I'm so glad we don't have to worry about that right now. Man, don't do that, Ed. Because that was floated out there, and I was like, I don't want any parts of the chipster, right? Yeah, that would have been scary. But to your point, initially, Rio, my favorite question was from, I want to say it was Candy Waller, when she asked him how he was just doing, like, and he said, "I appreciate you for asking that," and I think it's so important, that with mental health, and sometimes. These reporters, they lose sight of that sometimes because they got stories and articles to write. So they got specific questions that they want to ask. And so they got an agenda. And sometimes it's just good to just, hey, you good, bro? I know you had a kind of a difficult offseason. You good? And he was like, man, I appreciate you asking that. So I thought that was awesome. And he talked about, just continuing to get better and how the continuity with him and Cliff is growing in year 2, and that's something that he's looking forward to. So it's the sky's the limit. And he also talked about the relationship he has with Terry. He said we got a great relationship off the field. So I know, Terry's putting in work, and obviously he's part of the brotherhood, and we want him to get everything that he's got coming to him, and we'll be here when he gets back. So that's what the leader's supposed to say, right?
Solidarity.
I love it, and like Rio said, man, this is good to hear from Five. Ed, any takeaways from the Jayden Daniels presser?
No, you guys did a great job talking about it. But yeah, definitely the question about Kyron Lacy was a good question from Steve Walls.
Hey, he's stupid.
He's with the chat.
He said Ed's setup looks human.
Nobody is not getting smoked today, man. They giving us the smoke, man. We're gonna hire a producer.
Inside the house is crazy.
We all good. Adrian Broner. Yeah. I'm getting cooked. Adrian Broner. It's not just real tonight. I'm getting all the smoke tonight.
Human is. Hey, a wise man said the TV don't have no temperature, man. Y'all chill out.
Yeah. I'm getting cooked.
Go ahead, Ed. Sorry about that, man. Hey, Scotty, you ain't shit for that though. I'm gonna just let
you know. Open season. It's open season tonight.
Yeah, it's a roast. This is turned into a roast. Comedy Central roast. We're really bad. We might as well just go ahead and roast. Yeah, y'all just threw me off.
I'm sorry.
At least my Wi-Fi is good, though. At least my Wi-Fi is good. My Wi-Fi.
Damn, another chair shot.
No, it was the humidity
It
threw
ain't
you
shit,
off.
man.
I'm hitting him with the Jim Ross. God damn it, Ed. He did it again. God damn it, Ed.
Hey, look, the roast is going to continue. But no, Candy, she asked a great question. But no, Jayden does a great job in these interviews for sure. He has his poker face on. He's not going to give a lot of information at all. He did talk about Terry. He knows that Terry's getting to work and he's working hard. He did talk about Terry. But no, yeah, Jayden, he gets in there, he gets out. So I think he handled everything well for sure. So yeah, I like the press conference a lot, man.
Let's get to DQ's presser. So I think it was you, Ed, who brought up I think it was you that brought up B Mitch being out there, right?
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and he started his press conference talking about B Mitch, and that was something else that I absolutely love, because I felt like there have been a lot of resources around the building over the last 25 years that they just haven't tapped into. B Mitch being one of the more rich resources that have been there, because we haven't had any dynamic punt returners and kickoff return men here outside of DeAndre Carter in the last decade, right? I mean, Jamison Crowder, I got to stop forgetting about him, because he was very dynamic early in his career, back in like 15 and 16, I think. But we really haven't had any real dynamic, return men. And here's B Mitch here working around the facility. He's been around for over probably 2 decades, and they never I felt like they never tapped into that. Chris Cooley was here for a while, and I felt like he could have helped the tight ends, and they never tapped into that. And he wanted to help, right? Mm-hmm. And so I felt like they've had guys. Tanner's there, and why is he out here helping some of these diminutive receivers work on their route running? And he had the greatest late hands I've ever seen in my life as a receiver. You didn't know the ball was coming until Tanner at the last second, boom, hands up. Like, why aren't you taking advantage of these guys that have so much knowledge to give and so much game to give? And to see B Mitch out there, I thought was really cool. And DQ acknowledged that he had asked him back in the winter, hey, I need you to come through and pull up at one of these OTAs. And he was like, oh yeah, for sure. So that was pretty dope. So there are a lot of things DQ said at his press conference. Rio, you alluded to one that I think was that was a mic drop, right? At the end, that shit was fire, right? Mm-hmm. What were some things that DQ said for you guys that stood out in his presser after practice at the OTAs?
The Hunters thing, that was just that got me in season mode. Like that got me in full football season, because he literally stopped the presser for it. But he's just very detailed, very passionate. He cares about this job so much. You can tell, like, he literally thought about being a head coach every single day that he was a defensive coordinator again. Like, he did not want to continue to do that shit. Like, some people latch on and just are fine with being a coordinator again later in their career. He was not ever going to be, like, satisfied with that. And you could tell every time he speaks. He speaks so eloquently, so detailed. There was not really too many specific things, but I just like listening to our coach now. Like, he's such a difference from our last coach. Yes. I didn't want to hear Ron, the politician, come up and guys and position flex Buffalo nickel us for 2 hours a day. Everything feels real. Everything feels like it's articulated correctly. They tell us what we need to know, not too much, but they do it in a way that doesn't seem snide or assholey. It's just such a professional operation and a seismic change from what we're used to here.
Yeah.
And I would add to that too, like the fact that he invited B Mitch to come help the returners for a day. I thought that was really cool, because John Com already confirmed, like, no, he's not being hired as a coach or anything, but that was Dan Quinn's doing, to ask B Mitch to pull up and talk to the returners. Mainly, you saw him, Jalen Lane kind of rotating around him, staying in B Mitch's orbit a lot, and we need a lot of that, because I think he talent-wise could be one of our best returners, at least since Brandon Banks. And B. Mitch, we already know, one of the best returners in NFL history. So we need them around each other as much as possible. So I hope they bring him back as often as possible. Just like how we used to have Warren Sapp at our practices.
Mm-hmm.
I want B. Mitch around as often as possible, even if he's not hired.
I thought something that was really cool to hear was an update on Sam Cosmi, because we hadn't heard anything on Sam Cosmi. I know that Ben Standing had been at one of the charitable events, and he talked about, seeing Sam Cosmi, and he was moving around okay. But to finally get a update on him, I thought was significant. And he didn't tell us much, but just to hear that everything is going the way that it needed to go, which we didn't hear that Sam Cosmi had his surgery. It went well, full recovery expected in XYZ amount of months or whatever. So for him to be like, yo, he's hit every mile marker, DQ's standard line when somebody's injured and coming back, we're not going to miss a step. But it's just good to hear that Cosmi's working hard. And I'm still holding out hope that he can be ready. But in my mind, I'm saying it's going to be 9 months. That's going to put us somewhere in that middle of October range. So I think he's going to miss the first 6 weeks of the season. I'm circling Dallas in week 7 as the point where he comes back. I'm hoping he'll be back by that point. But week 7 against the Cowboys is where I'm hoping he'll be back for. So it was good to hear him talk about that. He talked about Jayden, teams making the adjustment like Rico said, and he had alluded to, and we got more weapons now. We added guys to the offense, and we got so much more playbook that they just haven't seen. So that was something else that he talked about. He talked about Tyler Biadasz, but he used that as an opportunity to talk about depth and competition. And there's competition in the secondary. There's competition on the D-line. There's competition on the offensive line. And so he spoke to that. Like, we got a lot of depth and a lot more competition going on. He's all about competition. So he talked about that. He talked about Dietrich Wise and how he's a great fit, not only for the locker room, but he's also a great fit for them stopping the run. Like, he always talks about guys playing square, right? Dietrich Wise plays square. So he mentioned a lot of things. I can keep going. I got a list of things. I took notes. As what DQ speaks, I listen, right? So he also talked about staying in touch with players. And, there are 3 guys in particular we talked about already that aren't there. And DQ made it abundantly clear that he's kept in touch with all those guys. And he said, like, with Jayden, I don't just talk to him during the season. I talk to this man in the offseason all the time. Like, bro, you good? Everything over there, you getting work in, yada, yada, yada. So he's like, yeah, I'm in touch with all the guys. And he made it abundantly clear that, especially Terry, right? Especially Terry, because he knows we got to get Terry done, right? So let's go ahead and so let me ask you this before we move on. Did you guys get a chance to hear any of the Deebo Samuel, Oos, or Tyler Biadasz press conferences or media scrums?
I saw a little bit of Louvu's and a little bit of Debo's. Especially, I saw the clip of Louvu talking about the tush push.
Yeah, he could tell he's done with that. Like at this point, like they didn't ban it. He said, "Look, he stood on business. I respect that." Right? He was like, "I said what I said. Like I meant that." So I ain't changing my stance, but we just got to stop it. That's been the universal line, the company line. Is we just got to stop it. But he talked about OTAs, and when you hear some of the players talk, it just make you even more mad that some of these guys didn't show up, because he said the purpose for OTAs is to create that brotherhood and that bond, right? And to get better and to get he said iron out some of the wrinkles. You can't do that if you're not here, right? And so it'd be one thing if those dudes had been here for 3-4 years and they know the defense, they know the offense, whatever the case may be, and they didn't show up. But if you want to be integrated into the brotherhood, you gotta show up, And so he kind of talked about that being one of the purposes for OTAs. He talked about how last year motivates him, but he's like, that's last year now. That's in the past. We gotta, find a way to be better than we were. Uh-oh. Did y'all hear that?
Yeah, it was like a slight echo.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I heard that.
It's gone now though, but it was weird.
So, Rio haunting us, even though he's not here no more.
Bringing somebody with him.
I just heard it again. What the hell is going on?
Yeah, I think that's StreamYard.
Yeah, I just got to be StreamYard at this point. It's got to be StreamYard. That's crazy. But Debo, and Oos, and I don't know if y'all watched the practice, but man, I'm gonna tell you what, Javon Kinlaw is a massive man, right? And Logan Paulson was talking about that. And Oos was like, he singled him out individually, like, because they asked him about stopping the run. And he's like, well, we really can't see that right now because we haven't put on the pads. That's more of a training camp thing. But he's like, Javon Kinlaw is a guy that's going to definitely help us get in our run fits better. So that's really good to hear from him as well. Debo, man, he was glowing when he was talking about Jayden, man. Like, can you imagine going from Brock Purdy to Jayden Daniels? No disrespect to Brock Purdy, but going from Brock Purdy to Jayden Daniels, that's a level up on a whole different, in a whole nother stratosphere, right? So he was clearly cheesing when he was talking about him. He talked about the brotherhood, like, yo, they have really embraced me. To Ed's point, he showed up now. His is a little different because this man's on a 1-year deal. Like, this is absolutely a contract year for him. So it is in his best interest to show up. But he's been at everything. And like Ed said, he's been out in the forefront, setting an example, really integrating himself well into what we've already built. And so you love to see that. He called Cliff an offensive genius, right? And then he talked about his relationship with Terry. He said they push each other to be better. And then he talked about getting in shape. And he said that this was what I was talking about, referring to with Marshon Lattimore. He came in, the Debo Samuel, and he said that he put together the nutrition staff and the conditioning staff, the weight training staff, put together a regimen for him to follow, a diet and a workout plan to get him in the best shape to be as effective as he needs to be in the upcoming season. And I thought Marshon Lattimore should have done something like that from a physical standpoint, right? To put him in a better position to play in all 17 games, to not have reoccurring hamstring injuries and soft tissue injuries. So, yeah, I thought that was a really interesting presser from Debo. Did y'all catch any of those press conferences? If not, we can move on to the next topic.
So, Debo, I didn't get to see, but I did get to see some quotes. He said, Jayden can make every throw.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, offensive guru and stuff like that. Said nothing but good things. But no, I love that everything that Debo has done, even off the field. Him and Jayden went to a Mystics game. So just things like that is like, just showing that he really is buying in. And you do see the videos of him in the weight room, and not just any weight room, but the Commanders facility. So he's been at OTA, the voluntary ones where they weren't doing 7-on-7s. The first one, he went to phase 2 where they weren't doing any competition, mostly just drills and stuff like that. So he's been there every day. He's been in the building. So I love that from Debo. And then it was something else that Dan. Oh, so Dan Quinn, I do like that he didn't make a big deal out of the guys not showing up.
Right.
Because typically we have seen coaches in the past. I think Ron did say something about Chase, and that made an even bigger deal. Even though I was kind of on the side that Chase should have been there too, but just even the coach saying something gives the media to the fire. Mike Vrabel, I don't blame him for saying what he said about Stephon Diggs. That's just inexcusable in my opinion, that video and whatnot. He didn't show up at all. So Mike Vrabel had to address that and say something about that. But Dan Quinn, he just said he's in contact with these guys. He's in contact with Marshon, Laremy, and he just didn't make it a big deal. So I think Dan Quinn did a great job of not giving. Of course, the media here would have loved to run with something like that, and Dan Quinn did not give them the opportunity to do that.
Didn't one of y'all want to give Stephon a look see here? Didn't one of y'all want to? Wasn't you, Ed?
No, because I was telling Rico on Juan Stream, because there's the whole story of Scott McLuhan wanting Stephon Diggs over Crowder, which from a football standpoint, that was the correct pick. But from things that I've heard, and Stephon Diggs is from our neck of the woods, things that I've heard around the way and stuff.
Yeah.
I understand some of the reasoning why not taking him, because of the extracurricular activities. I'll just say that.
Scott McLuhan basically said, "Hey, I could tell you some stories. I just can't do it on air." Right. So it was definitely some things that he was involved in that they wanted no parts of. And clearly, Mike Vrabel, I don't think he's necessarily regretting his decision to bring him in, because they need a number one wide receiver. But that's a bad look, bro. Like it's a really bad look. But it is. I mean, Stephon don't care. It's clearly,
so when you're still like they're just now building the culture. Like, it'd be different if we got them. I mean, that's still crazy. Like, it's a bad look regardless. But I mean, we just went to an NFC championship. We already have a bunch of leaders all throughout the roster. But the Patriots are a really new team. They were one of the teams that spent the most, if not the most, in free agency. Like, their whole team is like just a bundle of just everybody still trying to figure it out right now. I mean, this is not his first time being a head coach, but his first time being a head coach for the Patriots. So that one, it hurts them more than it will hurt us, for sure.
Without question. So let's transition to well, I want to save the. I don't know if Rio's coming back.
He's checking his Twitter if he tweeted something. No.
So
if he can.
Yeah, I don't. Did you check it?
You said if he
can. I don't know if he's coming back or not. I want to see if we can communicate with him real quick. And,
we'll send a text.
Yeah.
Hit him from on Twitter or something.
Yeah. I'm gonna send him a text, because I want to wait for him before we talk about.
He said, "Let me reset this router." He said, "Let me reset my router. This shiggity's bugging."
Okay. All right, got you. All right. So we'll wait on him to talk about Hard Knocks. Oh, not Hard Knocks, the Commander's Log. So what we'll do is we'll get to the comment section a little bit and get into some of that while we wait on Rio to come back.
Another thing I do want to say about OTAs real quick is that so Trey Amos has looked the part from everything I've heard. Of course, they don't have any footage and stuff like that, but he did get the interception. It was Michael Gallup. Then he almost got another one on Sam Hartman. So I've heard nothing but great things about Amos. Just the size, physicality, the speed, running with guys, mirroring guys. And I know we haven't really talked about Jalen Ramsey. I don't know if you guys want to talk about that situation.
Oh, we can. Let's do that. Let's do that real quick.
Life. I mean, you guys can give your thoughts on that too. But I mean, my reasoning for not going for Jalen Ramsey at this point is because of Trey Amos. I know we haven't seen him play in a game yet, but I just think one of the main reasons for me not going after Jalen Ramsey at this point is because of Trey Amos. I really believe he's going to be a really, really good corner in this league. I think he's going to have a big impact as a rookie. We already had a good impact from Mikey, a former second round pick. I think Trey Amos is what we're looking for. And we talk about slowing down bigger receivers like A.J. Brown. I think Trey Amos is going to be the perfect fit for that.
Yeah, from Lattimore, for me, it doesn't make much sense. Like, even ignoring the money, ignoring whatever draft picks you would have to give up unless he gets cut, post June 1st cut. We'll see in a couple of days what happens with that. Even outside of that, to Ed's point, like, you'll be stifling the development of a Trey Amos. Like, for him to take like a background role to where he's not a starter, he's not consistently on the field all of the time, that's just going to set him back even further before he becomes a quality starting cornerback for you, especially on the outside. And it'd be different maybe if we would have taken a risk on like a guy that previously had an injury, or this high ceiling, low floor guy that has all of this athletic potential to him, but he doesn't offer much of a floor. He doesn't have much nuance and technique. It may take him a while to get going. Trey Amos is arguably the corner that had the highest floor in the class. Like, literally coming out, day one, he can play in any scheme, any situation that you need him to, any body type of a wide receiver. He's ready to go day one. And so it just feels weird to take the day one corner and then go bring in a veteran to go potentially start over. I know we have the worry of Marshon Lattimore potentially getting hurt again or something, but I just don't see it making much sense for us specifically.
Another point before I'll let you go, Lou, is
go ahead.
draft capital. So that's another part. I mean, yes, we're in win now mode. We are a contender. Yes, I get all that. We're in Super Bowl mode. And you could go the Sean McVay route where you only have like 2 or 3 picks, but you won the Super Bowl. So I get that too. But you got to pay Jalen Ramsey as well. And that's another guy you're going to be paying or adding more salary to the team before you pay Terry McLaurin. And the whole safety thing with Jalen Ramsey, does he really want to play safety? Because, that is less money for him. Of course, he wants to get his bag. So I know he's under contract and whatnot, but that's another factor too, right there. But no, I mean, Jalen Ramsey's still a good player. Like, he's not washed. Like, he still has, I would say about 2 or 3 good years or high level football in him. So if we brought him here, I would not trade for him. We saw him tweet out some stuff. And then the whole story about it too is, do we really have interest? Yes, there's reports that we have interest. I think it was like a Miami beat reporter that said that we have interest. And then Jeremy Fowler linked us. But every beat reporter is going to link us now because we are a contender.
Right.
Anybody that's a good player that's either a corner or a defensive end, they're just automatically going to throw our name in a hat.
Even running backs, just throwing the ball at us.
It doesn't even matter at this point. If you were formerly an elite player, you're going to be linked to the Commanders because, like you said, we're a contender now. So, and we've shown the ability that we're willing to be aggressive and trying to push the envelope forward. So, I agree with everything y'all said. I mean, y'all pretty much hit the nail, right on the head with this. Like, to me, I think personally, his best football is behind him. Like, I don't even think he's the same player he was 2 years ago. So, to me, you would be bringing in a guy that I think would be a lot. Like, I think if he's going to prolong his career, like, because normally guys like him who have an elite, had an elite run, they're the last ones to realize you ain't that dude no more. And I don't even know if he's receptive to the idea of playing safety yet, because that's the natural transition for him. And I think he could actually do a really good job of playing safety because he tackles. He's got excellent ball skills. I think he's a smart football player. So I actually think he could play safety and make that transition. But is he ready to do that? He probably thinks he's still an elite corner. I don't think he's an elite corner anymore. So it'll be interesting to see. I think he's going to end up back with the Rams personally. But I don't even think we have interest in him. No. You traded for Lattimore already. You drafted Amos. You already spent draft capital on Mike Sainristil last year. You went out and signed Jonathan Jones in free agency. You brought back Noah Igbenogany. There's no space here for him. That doesn't even make sense. Forget about the draft capital. Like, we're not giving up any more picks. If there's anything with us in a trade, it's us doing what we did last offseason, and that's discarding guys and picking up draft capital, trading away a Jahan Dotson, trading away a Captain Insano, right? John Ridgeway. That might be something they may be interested in doing with a player or two if that opportunity presents itself in the training camp portion of the season. But I can't see us. We're already out of a second and a 4th round pick next year. Like, I can't see them wanting to trade away any more assets, to Ed's point. So, I think that Jalen Ramsey thing is more of just smoke. Maybe his agent or someone put that out there to try to, drum up more interest, but I don't really think that there's really any interest from Washington's standpoint. Now, if he were to come available as a free agent, maybe, but even still, to Rico's point, and this is where Rico's point comes in. I'm not trying to take minutes away from, Trey Amos. Like, who you sitting down? So it just doesn't make any sense to me.
And just to let you know, if he would have transitioned to safety, he would be the highest paid safety in the NFL.
Right.
So that would be kind of like a crazy. But to your point, he probably couldn't have been a good safety. But he would immediately become the most expensive safety on an annual value in the entire NFL.
Right. I wonder how that would affect the market. Like, would they just say, bro, come on now. That wasn't an actual safety contract that was signed. He just made a position switch. Or would they say, nah, he the highest paid safety. My guy's better than him at the safety position. He need to be paid like Jalen.
Now I need 26 a year. I think Jalen Ramsey's getting 24.
Yeah, so that would be wild if that's what that ended up becoming. But let's get to the comment section. And see what you guys have to say. Tony, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Tony with the 50 piece, man. Thank you so much for the support. Can't thank you enough. He writes, fellas, Marshon Lattimore should be at OTAs and then stay for after everyone has left.
Not for real, man.
Hey, look, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. And Ed, I thought Ed kind of said it very eloquently. Like, of all the dudes who are missing, he's the one that, I've already said this. It's not an issue until it is for me, right? It's not an issue until it is. So if he doesn't play well in September, guess what we coming back to, right? We coming all the way back to him not being at OTAs. That's the first thing that fans gonna say. And he had the nerve to not be there at OTAs in the offseason, right? But if he plays well, this goes away, right? If he's not at mandatory, now it's a problem. So until it's a problem, it's not a problem. But Ed said it perfectly. Like, of all the guys who aren't in attendance right now, he's the one that you're kind of looking at with the side eye, like, bro, what are you doing? Why aren't you here? You know? So, and this, like I said, I've talked to some Saints fans, and they're like, he didn't come to OTAs. He never has been an OTA guy. So, and same
That's
with
the
Laremy
same with
Tunsil.
Tunsil. Yeah, I was just about to say in Houston, he didn't go to OTAs
He
there.
didn't go to OTAs. So I mean, this isn't new. Like, they're not just doing this because they're here now. This is what they do. They want their off season. They want their time to themselves. And when it's time to show up, which is why I fully expect both of them to be here for mandatory, because when it's time for them to show up, they show up. So I don't think
they don't do nothing football in May and earlier.
Yeah, nah. I'll get here in June when I'm supposed to, right? And then I'll see you again in July, and then we off and we running for the entire season. So,
Yeah.
Thank you for that super chat, Tony. Smooth OPR 81, Smooth Operator 81. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, I support y'all because y'all Commanders family, but y'all need to stop letting that Brunson dude keep talking to y'all crazy, especially you, Louie Tee. He ain't talking to me crazy. They won the Super Bowl. They beat us 55-23. It's only so much you can say, right? I make my points. I say my piece, and then what am I going to say to him? What am I going to say to him? Like, they put us out of the playoffs, and they scored the most points in NFC championship game history. What am I going to say? They went on to win the Super Bowl. What am I going to say? Like, it ain't but so much you can say. He can talk crazy all he want, but we did what we did in year one of a recalibration. We have the best quarterback. These are the things that I talk about. I can only talk about the things that we have going for us. I can't speak to anything else. We got the best quarterback. That makes them upset. That's my angle. That's the thing that I know will piss them off. So I pull at that string all the time, because we do got the best quarterback, not just in the division, in the conference. And they don't like hearing that. But it ain't nothing I can say. What you want me to do? You know? What you want me to do?
Yeah, Commanders fans let him have it today about the comments he made about the shoes.
Yeah.
Like, they were cooking him today about that.
Yeah. Well, they cook him all the time. And he gets in his, but at the end of the day, he is one of the biggest trolls that exists, right? And if you let him get under your skin, then he got you. I told you what I do on social media. I'm an arsonist, right? I pour accelerant all over the Eagles fans. I light the match and I walk away. And they go, I watch them crash out. They be at me, all kinds of crazy stuff. I just be laughing at them. But LB knows what he's doing. Like, the reason he does the things that he does and he nitpicks at Jayden Daniels, because it's everything that's non-football related. You notice that, right?
Yeah, Twitter engagement.
Of course. And, but it's everything non-football related. It's got to be something about the shoes. It's got to be about this. It's got to be, he was on the Met Gala. Who gives a shit? What is the Met Gala? What is that even? Right? What the hell is that? We talking about dudes showing up in suits and ties? What are we talking about? That's not football. Everything he talks about when it comes to these quarterbacks is something non-football related. because he can't, because Jayden's got his guy beat in every category. But the thing that they can always say, and they always do, is 55-23, and we won the Super Bowl. So until we change that narrative, that exists, smooth operator. I don't, what else you want to say, right? So I love it when people go in on him on social media, though, because he fancies himself as a bully, right? He's a social media bully. So I love it when people let him have it on social media. Paul Kyoko, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Paul Kyoko writes, it's the hit makers, the shot makers. It's the Kangs. Yes, sir. And you know, they just don't miss. You know what it is, man. You know what it is. Shout out to Paul Kyoko, man. Silent Night Candy. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Silent Night Candy writes, finally watching the live show. No work tomorrow. So glad you could catch us live, man. We be out here tripping. We still waiting for Rio to come back. I don't know if he's coming back or not, but I do know it takes a long time for the for routers to boot back up. And it don't.
Yeah,
but,
don't
oh no! God damn it! God damn it, Ed! Not again! Hey, I tried to give him some grace. Ed,
he swatted that excuse right out there.
That shit out of here. He hit him with another chair. God damn it, Ed! Door Gunner, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Door Gunner. First of all, I got a bone to pick with you, Door Gunner. Let me before I even read your super chat. I was telling the fellas backstage before the show started that anytime, it doesn't matter. If anything I'm involved with is late, it's always my fault. Doesn't matter, right? And I can tell you this with 100% certainty that if a stream that I'm associated with other people starts late, I am not the reason it starts late. Okay. And look, if it's just me, it's nothing for me to be late. But I value their time. So I'm going to show up on time if we agreed on the time. And shit happens. Life be lifing. Sometimes people run late and it's all good. Like if y'all going to rock with us, y'all going to rock with us no matter what. But you, of all people, you were flagrant. You were out of bounds. I'm throwing a flag on the play. On the Super Friends stream, we were running late yesterday. Everybody is telling your ass that LB is simultaneously streaming with cowboy content creators at that moment. And you still talking about, it's definitely Louie Tee that's late. I know he's late.
Definitely.
Like, wait a minute, guy. And you supposed to be on my side. But anyway, it's a running joke. I know it's always going to be my fault, and I ain't mad about it, but I had to let you know I saw your bullshit, okay? I heard you jokes. Dorgana says, Rio, wear the Terry scoring against Detroit t-shirt on Woodward Sports Channel when you go back on. Rub it in their faces. That was a legendary that was a legendary spot by Rio on the Woodward Sports Channel. And the crow that they had to eat based off, I mean, they were so disrespectful to Jayden and the team, and they dismissed us like we were the little sisters of the poor. You would have thought we snuck into the playoffs at 9-8 and we didn't deserve to be there or something. Like you would have thought we was the worst team in the postseason left and we were just food or something. The way they were talking about us, and again, I had said this because a couple of Detroit guys are subbed up to my channel, and I was like, look, if I was them, I'd be talking trash too. But they was talking trash like at another level, like so dismissive of us. And then was even talking about hurting 5, right? I mean, it was crazy. Then when Frankie lit up Jared Goff, now they want to cry about us hitting a quarterback. Like, wait, didn't you talk about knocking our quarterback out the game? I mean, it was craziness. Karma, I keep telling people, Karma's a sumbitch. And she don't miss, right? I don't know if they're gonna have Rio back on their channel or not. Maybe they will for that week. What is it? What week 9? I think it is after the Chiefs game. I think we play them.
Yeah, it's like somewhere in the middle, right?
Yeah, it's right before the Dolphins game, and that's week 10. So I think Dolphins week 11. I think they're week 10 then.
I'll look at the schedule.
Yeah, I think they might be the week 10 opponent because the Dolphins are week 11 and our bye is week 12. So I think they're the last home game before we go to Miami. I think.
Okay.
Maybe they'll have Rio back on for that one. That'd be dope if they do.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't want to.
Look, I don't even know if they want to bring up last year. Like,
Lions week 10.
The week 10, right? That's what I thought.
November 9th. Yeah, November 9th.
Yeah.
America's game of the week.
All right. Oh, you know what it is. You already know that.
Had to be.
Of course. Because we all thought that was going to be a prime timer, right? I was shocked that it wasn't. Like, they kind of replaced that one with the Seattle game, but you know,
still weird.
It is. But I think
that's purely us.
Oh, you know it. Let's get to the next comment. Hoodie H, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Hoodie H writes, if each of you could pick a player from the division to play for us, who would you pick?
Saquon, Saquon Barkley, or Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, I'm Jalen Carter. I mean, maybe I have a little bias in there, but he's arguably the most dominant player at his respective position in the NFL. Man, like it's ridiculous how much you have to game plan against him. So I would definitely choose because he would just make everybody else so much better too. Like Trey Amos would be better, Frankie Louvu and Bobby Wagner would be better, even Johnny Newton next to him would be better. He would just make our entire defense just better in so many different ways.
Yeah, I would go with Saquon Barkley because of the running game. I don't want to keep ragging on B-Rob, but I just think, if we had Saquon and the run game, especially him next to Jayden, I mean, he would probably have a 2,000-yard season if he didn't have one. I don't think he had one last year. I know he was close to it if he didn't have one. But yeah, his running ability and benefiting from Jayden Daniels, Saquon would do numbers next to Jayden. He did have a 2,000-yard season last. He had 2,005 yards, and I think if he came here, he probably have at least like 20, maybe like 2,200 next to Jayden. He played 16 games last. He didn't even play 17 games, which is crazy.
Right, he didn't play the final game. He would have broke the record if he'd have played against the Giants.
And then he sat out. Yeah, the first Giants game, he could have ran up and he sat out because they blew out the Giants the first game. I remember that game. Yep. So there was a couple of blowouts as well that he didn't participate in, like the fourth quarter, like when we blew out the Browns, we blew out the Cardinals, where guys were sitting and whatnot. Just the explosiveness, and we played him for so many, even with the Giants. Like, this is stuff he was doing with a bad team with the Giants. And then the first game of the NFC Championship game, we saw what he did there. So I mean, he would make this team a lot better.
Mine would be Michael Parsons. I just want a dynamic, game changing, and being that he had already been with DQ and Joe Witt Jr., they would know how to utilize him and move him around and put him in positions to be. I mean, they essentially use Frankie Louvu the way they use Michael Parsons, but it's levels to this shit. So Parsons would be the guy. You can't go wrong with any of the guys that we just named. I think what would be pretty cool is if you went through each team in the division and took one guy. Who would that be? But we'll save that for another conversation. Daniel Morgan, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Daniel writes, what was the best season ever by a nickel corner? I don't know about that. I could tell you just off of the top of my head, watching guys. Chris Harris Jr. for a while was the best nickel corner in the NFL for the Denver Broncos. And he was dynamic because he could play in a nickel first and second down, and then he could go outside on third down, or vice versa, play first and second down. Because where teams like to go back in the day was in the slot. Like Brady and Manning love going in the slot to their slot receivers on third down because those guys win, right? Whether it was Brandon Stokely for Manning or it was Wes Welker or Julian Edelman or Danny Amendola for Brady, they love going to slot receivers on third down because they would win, and they would just take Chris Harris. I remember the Broncos erasing Brady in that offense in the 2015 AFC Championship game with like a 3-man rush, and they dropped coverage. And one of the guys that was a star that game was Chris Harris Jr. because he could just take away a receiver inside. So he's one of those dudes. I know the Colts have a really good slot corner. I don't know why I can't think of his name right now, but Kenny Moore. Yes, love me some Kenny Moore, man. He's had some incredible seasons as well, where he's taken the ball away in a multitude of ways. Forced fumbles, recoveries of fumbles, interceptions, blitzes, and getting sacks. And so he's another guy that is really dynamic as a nickel. But for me, I think Chris Harris probably is the best nickel that I've seen. You guys got anybody that jumps out at you as a nickel?
I know Mike Hilton had a couple good years. I don't know if his season was the best ever, but I know he had a couple seasons, good seasons. I think Smoot played the slot a little bit, if I'm not mistaken. So it's definitely not the best ever, but I do want to shout out Smoot for being a good skins corner at the time. But no, you hit the nail on the head with a bunch of guys. Like Chris Harris had a great career as a slot corner. Super Smash Brandon said Rondé Barber. So, I mean, there's some guys.
Yeah.
Brian Branch had a good year. I know he played safety, but, he's played nickel as well. So he had a good year. We did a good job against him in the NFC divisional round.
Yeah.
I know he had a good season last year, too.
Christopher McLaughlin, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, C Mac, thank you for the super chat. Chris writes, hey, Lou, Rio, Rico, and Ed. 3 questions. 1, what do you think of the team's FPI rating for 2025 with ESPN being 2.7 plus 2.7 and 6th, and why? 2, what are your thoughts on 5% of winning the Super Bowl and why? And then 3, do you expect Cosme for week 1? So Rico, you got to explain what an FPI is, because he's talking in a different language that I don't understand. I know that might be right up your alley, being an analytics guy. What is FPI rating? What is that?
So FPI rating is basically like how many points above or below an average team is. Mm-hmm. That's like their exact way of explaining it. It's kind of hard, but just to let you know, like the rankings of it from ESPN go Eagles, Chiefs, Ravens, Lions, Bills, then us. So like we're at a good spot. Like, it's a good thing where we are at plus 2.7. It's just like a lot of different things. Like they consider offense, defense, and special teams in it. Just to let you know, it's a bunch of stuff kind of thrown in there, and we're 6th in the NFL.
Well, that sounds like right around where we probably should be. So if that's the case, then that sounds good to me. What are your thoughts on us having a 5% chance of winning the Super Bowl?
I mean, hey, I'll take it. I mean, we didn't have a 5% chance starting last season, and I can't remember anytime I've been alive we had a 5% chance. So I'm happy where we are, man. Let's do it.
Hey, I don't know.
Are you saying there's a chance?
Yeah, exactly. Are you telling me there's a chance? I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Like, what are some other teams' percentage chances of winning? Like 5 seems really low to me. Like,
I can see that.
I think we had like at one point the 7th best odds, tied with like Cincinnati to win the Super Bowl or something along those lines. The last time I checked, it's been a while since I've checked, but if you've got the 7th best odds, it feels, unless it's a pie and they're divvying up portions of the pie and everybody gets a slice, and so once that slice is gone, you can't. So like assuming that let's say 10 teams have a 1% chance, so now 10% of the pie is gone, and let's say Philadelphia has 30% of the pie, and the Chiefs have 28% of the pie. If that's the case, then 5 is good. But if it's just like, oh, the Eagles have a 62% chance, like the Chiefs have a 60% chance, and then the Bills have a 50, then 5 is not good, right? So it just depends on how we're looking at that. For me, at least, if we're divvying it up between 32 franchises and their odds of winning, and we get 5% of the pie, yeah, then that's great. If it's just based off of a whole 100%, and you're telling me we just got a 5% chance, nah, that's not enough for me, because I think we got a better shot than 5% of winning the Super Bowl. So how do y'all feel about that?
Well, if you break it down, go ahead.
If we have a 5% chance, then the Giants gotta have like a negative. They gotta have like a negative or something. 0.0001,
right.
something like that. Because
right.
They were actually ranked 32nd. I'm looking at the ranking right now. They're 32nd. Tennessee's 31st. The Jets are 30th. So they gotta have a 0.001. But yeah, if we have 5%, yeah, that has to be the best percentage we've gotten in a long time. But I would assume they would probably say the Chiefs 40% and the Eagles 40% and the Ravens probably more than 20%. Bills, like you said, probably more than 20-30%. I would assume that would be the percentages. But yes, no, if it is split, that would make more sense. But if it's just an individual thing, the 5% is pretty low. I would at minimum give us like 20 if they really like 20%.
Yeah, so for the percentage where we're 5%, where everybody's split in the same pie, the Eagles are 12, Chiefs are 11, Bills are 10, Ravens 9, and then we're tied. And then the Lions are 8. We're tied with the Rams at 5%, even though they put us right ahead of the Rams. Yeah. So again, in 6th place there. And then for the individual team chance, I forgot it was somewhere. We have 58% chance of best playoff odds in each conference. So that's the playoff one. That's not Super Bowl one, but they even have it broken down specifically to like opponents. Like the Commanders versus Chiefs is in 8th place with a 2% chance of happening. But the one that's the highest percent chance of happening, Eagles versus Chiefs, is only 4%. Yeah. So we're not like far behind in any of those categories for real.
That makes a lot of sense. And that's what I was alluding to. Like, it's a pie that's 100% and you're splitting it amongst the 32 teams, then 5% is great, right?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you just described. Like the Chiefs, the Eagles are at 12%. The Chiefs are at 10%. That makes sense, right? If it's just out of 100 and every team gets 100, 5 is nothing. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. That's right where we should be. Similar to what how Rico described the FPI. That's right where we should be, right around 5 or 6, somewhere in that neighborhood. That sounds good to me. So I like that.
This 6th to 8th place about.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. That's right around where we should be.
Percentage for the Giants.
I mean, it's got to be less than 1%. All those.
Well, we're talking about. I'm about to say FPI negative 3.9. They're 6th from the bottom.
Yeah.
And then the chance of winning the Super Bowl, they don't even. You have to like go to a separate link because they only have the top 14 in the article.
Which
I clicked on the separate link and and they have a. Okay, so they have all right, Super Bowl. To win Super Bowl, again, we're 4.8%. And then to scroll down to the Giants, they are 0.2%. So we combined for 5% together.
Yeah. Just 4.8 of it is ours. That's all. Yeah. It's like both like ours. We just keep most of it over here, right?
Yeah. It's like that. What's his name? Kobe Bryant and that number 1 overall pick that never worked out. I think Kobe dropped I think that was his 81 game. Not Andrew Bynum,
Kwame Brown.
Kwame Brown. He dropped 2. And Kobe Bryant had 81, and they combined for
83 points.
Well, they went crazy that night, but they went crazy.
Hey, that's crazy. That's some diabolical work right there. And then 3, do you expect Cosme for week 1?
No.
I don't. Nah. Yeah. It's not even worth rushing it. We're a team that's going to be playing well into January, maybe even February. Yeah. I wouldn't rush it for something like that. And especially the easiest part of your schedule, well, least difficult, I'll word it. Part of your schedule is early on. I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, no. First of all, we know DQ, and DQ's moniker is we're not going to miss a step. they're not going to miss a step with him. They're going to make sure that he is 100% healthy, and they're going to also go through the conditioning process, right? So he might be cleared for football activities, but they're going to also ramp him up from an endurance standpoint, have him going through practice. We see this all the time when they open the 21-day window for a guy and they exhaust like all 21 days before they activate him, because they want to get them up to, par from a endurance standpoint. So I really think we'll see him somewhere in that week 6-7 range is when I think we'll see Sam Cosmi. So I was holding out hope week 1 would still be a thing, but I just don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. Commanders for Life 23. Hey!
Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir. Appreciate that.
Man, we can't thank you enough for the hundo piece, man. Thank you so much for the support. We really, truly do appreciate you. Commanders for Life 23, man. Shout out to Commanders for Life 23, who writes, Kangs. Once again, shout out to Commanders for Life 23. He writes, Lou, we got you. He said, we got your side always against LB's version of E versus Mariah Carey's Obsessed rendition. Do you think Lattimore doesn't meet the commander tag and AP is dealing a trade? Takes on Sam Still video equating to brotherhood on both sides of the ball. On the Lattimore thing, I don't think they're trying to seek a trade with him. They traded for him. They gave up draft capital for him, and they think that, first of all, his deal is very affordable. Like, that's a really good deal financially for the Commanders. And the another really good thing about his deal is there's no guaranteed money next year. So if he doesn't play well this year, guess what they can do? Cut him. And they're done with that experiment, right? And it's no penalty if they do that. So they're in a great spot with Marshon Lattimore. If he plays really well, guess what they can do? They can either three options really. They could do nothing, which Marshon Lattimore wouldn't be happy about. They could do what they did to Debo, which is give him, and Andrew Wiley to a lesser degree, and give him more upfront, give him some guaranteed money. Andrew Wiley had no guaranteed money in the final year of his deal. They gave him guaranteed money, and they gave him opportunities to earn more with incentives. They could do the same thing for him, right? Or they could just give him a new deal, right? An extension, and give him new money, right? But he's got to earn it. I don't think they're looking to trade him. They're not giving up on him. And remember, Adam Peters said after the season that they're invested in Marshon Lattimore. They think with a full offseason, him being healthy, you kind of getting into the playbook and being more comfortable with what they're going to ask him to do, he'll be much better for us next year. I don't see that. What do you guys think about Lattimore? Does he meet the requirement for a commander's tag?
I mean, I agree. I mean, if Adam Peters believes in him, I do. You know what I'm saying? After what Adam Peters pulled last year and nobody saw it coming, his word is bond for me right now. Like, until further notice, anything he says goes. And I see the logic behind it too. I think, honestly, with a full off season, even though he's not pulling up to voluntary OTAs to get in as much work as he possibly can, but I think with a full training camp at least, and with him being healthy, I think he'll finally show with the reason that we traded for him in the first place. So I'm excited about Marshon Lattimore. I know there's a lot of negativity around his name right now, but I think he's going to end up balling out for us when it's all said and done.
Yep, I'm with you. What about you, Ed?
Yeah, I think he is. We just want to see more. And the chronic hamstring injury was a major factor for sure. I just want to see some consistency there. Personality wise, yes, he does give off the, I'm just here and I'm ready to go once practice ends kind of vibe. But we know, he's been a hard worker for years. He's had a great career with the Saints, Ohio State guy. So he is familiar with Terry McLaurin and some of the Ohio State guys on the roster too. No, I think he does. And, I do like some of the scrap that he does do. Sometimes, the penalties, like they called in the NFC Championship, they called a penalty on him when A.J. Brown threw a punch. as well, or shoved him. So some of that is just his style with Mike Evans. You're going to get that every game or every other game. You're going to get him getting in a scrap and a scuffle. So I do like that competitive edge that he has. I like that dog in him that he has, that physicality that he brings to the roster for sure. But we just got to see the consistency. So there really hasn't been anything otherwise to make me think that, other than him not showing OTAs yesterday. Just because of that doesn't make me say that he's not doesn't fit the Commander culture or the Commander tag.
Yeah, man. I think people are making a big deal out of this unnecessarily. I think it got exacerbated because of the fact that he didn't play well last year. And so there were already people that felt like that was a bad trade, that we gave up too much for him, that AP took a L there, and that maybe he is past his prime, right? Like there's no good football left in him. I've even seen that in the comment section tonight. So not showing up makes that even worse, and it looks bad. But I've been adamant, I've been consistent, and so have you guys, standing 10 toes down on the fact that you think he's going to be better this year. I do as well. And if he's not, guess what? Look, you're not going to bat 1,000. Adam Peters isn't going to bat 1,000. But what he's shown us is the willingness to be aggressive. Howie Roseman right now is the best general manager in football. You think he's hit on all of his moves? He hasn't. He traded for Jahan Dotson last year. They did not pick up his 5th-year option, okay? He's not batting 1,000. They signed the jet pass rusher a couple of years ago and let Hassan Reddick walk. That guy's done nothing.
Yeah.
Since he's gotten exactly. Look, you're not going to hit on everything. So this could be a failed trade when it's all said and done. It could be. But right now, we're not at that point. We're not at that point. And I think we owe it to Adam Peters and to a lesser degree, Marshon Lattimore, to let this thing play out and see what happens. So,
and not everybody shoots 100% from the field. I mean, the Eagles make their mistakes with some of the acquisitions that they make. Adam Peters does not have to be perfect to win a Super Bowl. And so even if Marshon Lattimore doesn't work out to the way that we hoped, the way that we draft, the way that we handle free agency, you can afford to make some misses and still. But I mean, those guys went to the Super Bowl after spending a 3rd overall pick. I think it was 2nd or 3rd overall pick on Trey Lance. And then the guy that they took in the 7th round ended up being the starting quarterback. And again, they made it to the Super Bowl very soon. It didn't take them 5 years to rebuild after wasting a high 1st round pick on the guy. They were able to do it immediately. So, I mean, Adam Peters has shown that he can pivot from a mistake very quickly. So, hey, man, let him cook.
Yeah, somebody else said let him cook. We're gonna talk about that probably on the next show.
Yes,
you see what y'all did? Now Rio's not coming back. You see what you guys did? I just got word from Rio and confirmation that now he went from laggy internet to none at all. You see what y'all did? You should be ashamed of yourself. You shamed Rio out of this stream. Shame on y'all. Y'all shame my man Rio out of this stream. Shadow Striker 789. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Shadow Striker writes, shout out Raymond for this comment. Bro said Ed in Laremy Tunsil's mask room. Rio's router must be boiling in there too. Y'all chill out, man. Y'all done had my man Rio removed, and y'all got Ed over here hitting Rio with chair shots. As this man is trying to get up and figure out how to get his internet going. Y'all leave Ed alone, man. Y'all leave Rio alone. y'all chill out, man.
It turns to a roast
It did. I see them trying to get on me talking about, I got a beanie on. It's cold in my house. I told y'all that already. My wife keep it on Arctic glass in his hole. So y'all leave me alone. Don't try to come after me. All right. Don't come after me. Leave me alone. All right. LA at Brooklyn. Shout out to LA at Brooklyn. Hey.
Yes, sir. Another hundo, man. Appreciate that, man. Always.
Another hundo. Peace. Thank you for the support, LA at Brooklyn, man. Every week it feels like you blessing us with the hundo piece, man. We cannot thank you enough for your unwavering support. Shout out to LA at Brooklyn, man. From the Kings to you, thank you so much. Hey, Kings. What up, LA and Brooklyn? Hope you and the families are well. Likewise, likewise. Going through the comments, the family out on Lattimore, but what is a better option? Got to let Amos develop. Rio, please tell me you don't have Spectrum. Their Wi-Fi in New York be killing me. Peace. Nah, he's got Verizon. We were just talking in our group text on chat, and he's like he was on the phone with Verizon, and it's an outage in his area, he said. So, and I've had that happen too, where I've been live and you get an outage and boom, like that's it, you're done, bro. It ain't nothing you can do. So
Oh yeah, I don't know how y'all living up there, but I know in Atlanta we have the boil water advisory every now and then. We get the power outages all the time. I don't think I go a month. We get the internet outages in my area. Like I deal with all of that. I just so happen to not be live when it happens.
Yeah, nah. Look, when you've done it as long as I have, I've experienced all of that. But the worst was when I was with Cox. Like that shit there, man, they were the worst. And I was like, I gotta do something better, man. So ever since I've had the Verizon, I've really been straight. But those power outages, like you said, Rico, hey, you're done, bro. Like it don't matter. Like, I've been in the middle of a stream and bam, black, done. You know,
back to caveman times.
Yeah, for sure. So we definitely know the struggle is real, but the family is definitely. I've seen a lot of the comment sections about Lattimore, and like I said, it's easy to pile on him right now because the last image you have of him wasn't a good one. And to Ed's point, in those big games and those big matchups against premier wide receivers, he didn't fare well. His best games last year were when he got to chill on the opposite side of the field. Like the first game he played in against New Orleans, they just gave him respect. They knew him, they knew what he was capable of, and they just didn't try him, just off of sheer respect, right? The next week against Philadelphia, he got cooked, right? He won his fair share of that battle, though. That was a fun one to watch. But it was a lot of pass interference in that game. There was a lot of, jockeying for position, and he was the one that ended up getting flagged a lot of times. But he broke up a number of plays in that game as well. Then, but he got cooked against Mike Evans, and he got hurt in that game, as we know, and he didn't come back until the playoffs. And then he got cooked in that game against Mike Evans, and he got cooked in the game against the Eagles in the playoffs. So, and he had the Lions game, and like y'all said, he was chilling over there. Like he wasn't really being asked to do anything in that game. Amon-Ra St. Brown went off for 100 and something yards in that game. But he wasn't covering him. So I think all of those things have put Commanders fans in, because we've seen this before. We've seen the failed free agent acquisition. We've seen the guy that we traded for, i.e. a Josh Norman. Well, that was our free agent signing, but we've seen guys come here. Who you say?
Haha, Clinton Dix.
We've seen guys come here that we thought was going to be good.
Forgot about that one.
Yeah, I did too. But that just didn't work out. Landon Collins, right? We've seen guys come here and for whatever reason didn't play the kind of football they played elsewhere, and so we do have PTSD from that. Some fans do. I think it's going to be fine, but again, we'll see. And y'all might come back and say, we told you he was ass. We told you he was washed. And you might end up being right. But right now, I just say, let it play out. Let it play out. Stephen Dent, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Stephen Dent writes, Ed, it's all in the lighting. Let's go Kings. Get them right. I'll help next time I'm in DC. Get at me. Season can't get here fast enough. HTTC for life.
All right, thank you, Steven. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
And might take you up on that offer, man. Greg, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Greg writes, if Ramsey gets cut and moves to safety, I'd do it, but not at corner. Safety is something Ramsey has talked about playing at the point of his career, but let Amos rock. I've said that if he gets released, that means you would have to then work out a new contract with him. Mm-hmm. So he would no longer be the highest paid safety all of a sudden or any of that stuff. And you wouldn't have to give up, to Ed's point, you wouldn't have to give up draft capital at that point either. And that would make it a little bit more feasible. Now, none of us know what Ramsey looks like as a safety, but there's going to be a team out there that's willing to experiment and see what it looks like. I wouldn't be opposed to it. But again, Will Harris is not stopping you from going out and getting a Jalen Ramsey if he's going to play safety, right? I don't think any of us feel like Will Harris is a guy that you got to start. So he's a placeholder, a mere placeholder is Will Harris. There are some of you out there that are like, yo, Tyler Owens, this preseason about to be starting. Like, it's some of y'all that's already banging that drum. So if Ramsey became available and he was willing to make the switch, I would be interested for sure. What says you guys?
Yeah, if he's willing to come in for really cheap and do it, I'm down. Because, I mean, I like Will Harris, but it does scare me assuming week one he's your starting safety alongside Quan Martin. I like him. I think he'll be better in coverage than Jeremy Chin, but I'm not sure if he's a better overall safety than Jeremy Chin. So, I mean, if you can add Jalen Ramsey to that room, and to your point, Lou, I think Jalen Ramsey could step up and be a really good safety for us. I would be down. It just has to be for somewhat cheap. Nowhere near the money that he's making right now.
Absolutely. Ed, you got anything to add?
Oh, basically what you guys are saying, like, if it's for free, where it's not gonna be for free, but not trading a draft pick where he gets released before June 1st or after June 1st. I mean, yeah, I would at least bring him in for a workout or a visit or something like that, and see if he wants to play safety or corner. You can interchange. And I don't think it would hurt. And the contract, of course, is super important. I would do no more than $10 million, something like that, like a 1 or 2 year deal. But I would still want to.
You really think Jalen Ramsey was signed for $10 million? Come on, Ed.
Right. Yeah, there's not gonna be a hometown discount. I know that.
Yeah, right.
But no. So that would be my thoughts. Probably like, I guess, like $15 million per year. He's making what, $25 million a year. So down to like 15, something like that.
What's the highest paid safety? Y'all know? Because I don't know what that.
I forgot, but I think he's making like 21 a year, 22 a year.
So he would have to be somewhere in that neighborhood if you're gonna sign Ramsey to a contract. It would be like 18, 19 or something like that. You can't just jump him over the highest paid safety because you don't know what he is as a safety. But if he were to become a free agent and you were negotiating with him as a safety, I think the baseline, the floor would be 15 million, like Ed said. But I think that's the starting point. And if I'm Ramsey and his representation, I'm trying to get that number to somewhere in that 17, 18, $1 million range if I can. So that would be an interesting negotiation if he were like, hey, I'm ready to play safety. Wonder what that number would look like.
But honestly, I actually believe in our cornerback room. I actually like the depth that we have. I like Noah Eye where he's at instead of being a starter. I like Jonathan Jones being a backup, even though Jonathan Jones really is a starter. Jonathan Jones has started all of his career. Yeah. So we have guys that are backups that can come in and play starter snaps. So I like the cornerback room. I like Quan Martin a lot. I like the pickup of Will Harris. Honestly, I think I like our secondary where I think it's fine. Defensive end is where we need to sign somebody. So I'm really not banging on the table to sign Jalen Ramsey. I think he would help, but I'm not really banging on the table for it to happen.
Look, y'all, let me ask y'all this since Ed just brought it up. Y'all think we actually gonna sign somebody?
Like a big name like that?
Yeah. A defensive end edge. You really think we gonna sign one?
Well, the crazy thing is I heard that Dorrance didn't participate. Like, he was there, but I don't know if he's hurt or whatever. I heard Quan Martin didn't participate either, maybe because of the shoulder surgeries. But the fact that Dorrance didn't participate, like, Dorrance is going to be ready week 1. But my gut says they don't sign somebody.
Yeah. And that's what it's feeling like. What about you, Rico? How you feeling? You think they're going to
I think they should, though.
Yeah. I think we all said that we all said we would add somebody. And the guys are still out there. Like, you don't have to make that decision now. That's more of a July decision because nobody's going to sign, Jadeveon Clowney. No one's going to sign Zadarius Smith, like Von Miller. Those dudes will be available in July come training camp, right? And the thing is, once somebody has an injury to one of their edge rushers, that's when those guys are going to get a phone call. And so if you want them, you just go and get them. But I think they are comfortable with what they've done. And I think it won't be until they get to training camp and see what they have to really say to themselves, okay, this isn't enough, right? If they get to see Jacob Martin and they're like, okay, this isn't enough. If they get to see, like, some of the guys they brought back, they already know. Like, they know what Cleveland Farrell is. Like, I don't even know why you brought him back, to be honest with you, right? Like, Dietrich Wise is an upgrade over him. I don't even know why he's here. But, okay, cool. You want to bring him back. You know, he's a hardworking guy. You know what I mean? Like, okay, fine. But there are other players that I think could help. And I think they're going to realize that when we get to camp. But they may also see what they brought in and say, no, we're good. We don't need to do anything. So what do you think they're going to do, Rico?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like they're not going to do anything until we get like at least a certain distance through training camp. Yeah. You're probably going to at least want to see what the other guys can do before you just make a definitive decision that we need edge rusher. Because right now we feel like, as us watching from the outside looking in, we need edge rusher. But Adam Peters, Dan Quinn, Joey Jr., and all of those guys are probably looking like, well, at least give these guys a few practices, a few weeks to show what they can do. Maybe, glass half full. Maybe Dorrance Armstrong takes it to another level. Maybe he starts to look more like his Detroit Lions game version of himself more consistently. Maybe Jacob Martin from the Bears is ready to come in and be that situational pass rusher to the same extent of Dante Fowler, who got 10.5 sacks last season. Dante Fowler had like 5 sacks the year before he came to the Commanders, and Jacob Martin just had 5 sacks, I believe, some 4.5, 5 for the Bears last year, and they probably feel like it's more of a system thing than a player thing. Maybe Javonte Jean-Baptiste, who showed a couple of flashes last year as a 2024 7th round pick, steps up, and they probably don't want to jump the gun too early. And they're probably just like, to your point, Lou, they're sitting there. There's no rush. There's no other team fighting to get them right now. So just let's get the training camp, see what our guys can't do, and then get an edge rusher if we need one.
That's what I think is ultimately going to happen. So it'll be interesting, but my guess is they don't do anything. But camp will be the determining factor. That's what ultimately will be the case, I think. Mr. CB1274, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for the Dubsky. Shout out to Mr. CB1274, who writes, "What up, Kangs? We good on Ramsey? That guy's washed. Lattimore still needs to prove his worth." I think that's where we all are right there. That's the perfect way to sum it up. But I'd like Ramsey. I don't know if he's washed. I just don't think he has his best football's behind him. I'll say that. I don't think he's the guy that he once was once upon a time. But Lattimore definitely needs to prove himself. And I think that's why a lot of fans are upset and disappointed that he didn't show up at OTAs, because guys that don't show up at OTA, that's reserved for dudes who, hey, when the time shows up for them to come and compete, we already know what we're getting out of them. Like, there's a big question mark with Lattimore right now. So I think that's why there's so much surrounding him right now. Red House, not Roadhouse. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Red House, not Roadhouse writes, shout out to those basketball guys.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. And what's crazy is one of those basketball guys was in the draft war room. Yep. Walking around during that process. So shout out to the basketball guys indeed. Lang Hughes, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Lang Hughes writes, Docs probably gave Lat an offseason plan after the NFC Championship game. That's very viable, and it's feasible that may have taken place. We'll see if, look, I don't care what happens, how he does it. I just want to stay healthy. And I think as fans, sometimes we want full transparency, and sometimes we ask for more than, they have to give us. Because in all actuality, if he showed up to all of this and they told us, hey, we put in a plan for him and he still gets hurt, we would be more accepting of that than we don't know what happened. He didn't show up at OTAs and then he gets injured again. Like, that would piss us off even more so. So at this point, we don't know what was done. All we know is we want him to be healthy. Y'all got anything to add to that?
Nah, really. I mean, just please, just come in. Because again, as somebody that's been defending him, please don't make me look crazy.
Right.
Like, please come out here when you are handball out, man. Because I've really been like, man, I believe in that talent. And as a Georgia Bulldog fan, I have every reason to be against an Ohio State player, but I really think he still has some left in his tank. And so I'm hoping he just goes out there and makes me not look like a complete fool.
I'm right there with you, Rico. I've been absolutely every step of the way saying, hey, y'all just chill. He's going to be a beast for us next year. No worries. I'm not tripping, right? It didn't look good last year. I can admit that, but he wasn't healthy either last year. So now let's see what a full off season, and even if it's not all spent with us, he's still working out. Trust me, he's not going to show up out of shape. This isn't his first go round. He's done this throughout his career. This is what he does. He doesn't spend the off season, training activities with his team. He doesn't. He didn't do it in New Orleans. He's not doing it here. So he'll show up, and the hope is that he stays healthy. Commander-in-Chief Daily, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Detroit is where people from Cleveland go on vacation. Shout out to the people who go on vacation in Detroit. That's from Cleveland. Shout out to y'all. Hey,
that's crazy.
They deserve that. LT, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. LT writes, Jahan return on investment scored in the Super Bowl, and no one pays wide receiver 3 5-year option, 5th-year option. If he was worth it, you would have picked it up. And number 2, he did not score in the Super Bowl. Remember, they initially ruled it a touchdown, and then they said he did not score. So close, but no cigar, because Commanders fans was about to be crashing out had he scored that touchdown. If I'm not mistaken, he did not score a touchdown. He had initially scored it, then they overturned and said he was down at like the 1. But it's all good, man. Look, just take the L. It's okay. You lost that trade. It's okay, right? It's okay to say, hey, my guy's not batting 1,000, because he's not. He's still the best GM in the league. It's okay, right? We got you. We got you on that one. All right. So that was the last super. We're going to wait for Rio to do the Commander's log. And so, Ed, you have homework. You've got a week to watch Commander's log episode 4. It's only 33 minutes, Ed. That's it. Right. It's only 33 minutes. All right. So then we'll all be able to talk about it, right? So, Ed, you have homework. Please complete the homework assignment, okay? And so we'll be back next week. We'll have more OTA conversations. Obviously, they've got another OTA session between now and the next time you'll see us on the screen together. And so we'll wrap up OTAs. Hopefully, Terry's got a deal done by then, right? I mean, because it feels imminent. Like, I've been saying July. I've been saying July since January that, Terry will get his deal. It'll be in July, right? But that was the last group that was here. That's how Ron and company used to do it. This group, it feels a little bit more imminent. I think they want Terry at the mandatory minis. So I could see that week in between, that 1 week between the final phase 3 OTA, and then there's a week in between that and the mandatory mini. I could see them hammering out something and getting it done and having Terry sign when he gets here. Another thing that we didn't talk about, Josh Connolly Jr. finally signed his first round contract. Yep. So now we have one guy left who has not signed his deal from the 2025 NFL or Commanders draft class, and that is our second round pick, Trey Amos. So we'll see.
I don't think it's a Shamar Stewart situation either.
Yeah, I don't think
It's
it's
gonna get done.
much, right? And unlike Shamar Stewart, he's actually practicing clearly. So, he's performing in good faith, knowing that it's going to get done. And I assume that will happen here shortly. It's got to be something like offset language or something, that can hold up a contract, but it'll get done. These things are slotted now. It's not like once upon a time where you had to negotiate how much a guy was getting paid. His draft slot gets a certain amount of money, and so it's nothing to really talk about. So I expect that to get done here shortly. But y'all got anything to add before we get out of here?
Nah. Sad about Ant going out the way they did.
Hey, look, man. I'm shocked. First of all, he said the same thing I feel about Jayden Daniels, because Eagles fans try to make us feel bad about losing in the NFC Championship game. Sure, it sucks losing the way that we did, but how is it a bad thing to get to the NFC Championship game, right? How is it a bad thing for Ant to get to the Western Conference Finals, right? And what year is this for him? 4? What year is this?
How old is Ant? Ant can't be older than 23.
Right. I mean, this has got to be like year 4 for him. Year 5 at max. Year 5. Like,
yeah, he's at 23. Yep, 23 years old.
I think this is he was a 21 draft. What draft was he?
It definitely was somewhere around COVID or shortly afterwards, right?
Yeah, it was either 20 or 21. But
2020 draft. Yep.
Yeah. So, like, what are we talking about? The dude's 23 years old. Like, that's a great feat and accomplishment to get to the Western Conference Finals. Get that experience under your belt. They matter of fact, that's right. They got there last year, didn't they?
Yep.
Yeah, because they beat Denver in that series, right? And
and
then they lost to Dallas. Yeah. So this is the second year in a row. Like, he's got that experience under his belt. Yeah, he does need to play better, but other guys around him got to step up too. But Jayden getting to the NFC Championship game in his first season, like, what are we talking about? No, we didn't win. Yeah, it sucked that we got blown out, but what are we talking about, man? Like, we're making it to the NFC. Would you rather your team not make it to the NFC Championship game? I'm confused, right?
Yeah.
So,
especially with how they handing out picks, there's no point in even tanking or trying to get
a
bad record.
Ed knows all about that.
Say they not even picks ain't even going to the right teams anyway. You might as well win.
So I know. I was shocked that the Pacers didn't finish off the Knicks tonight. They had been so good on the road, and they had been great in finishing teams off in Game 5. They did it in each of the first 2 series. I just thought they would do it again here. And they got throttled tonight. But now the pressure's on the Pacers, right? You got to win in Game 6. You don't want this thing coming back to New York for Game 7. So that one's going to be big. And I know nobody's smiling bigger than the NBA right now, because could you have imagined if the Pacers would have won tonight? Because the first game of the NBA Finals is starting on like June 5th, no matter what, right? June 5th or 6th. So that's already a fixed date, no matter what happens. Could you imagine both of these series ending in 5 and there's no basketball for like a week, which is what would have happened if the Pacers would have won tonight? That would have been a nightmare disaster for the NBA. They're hoping that this Pacers-Knicks series goes 7.
Yeah.
So that
that's why I picked the Knicks tonight, because I knew they didn't want to have this gap like that.
It was going to be a serious gap. So, but they came out red hot. I mean, Brunson couldn't even miss in the first quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Pacers didn't shoot it well tonight. So we'll see if they go home and take care of business, because that's a big one. But anyway, I digress. If y'all got nothing else, we are gonna glide to the side. Shout out to our guy Rio, man.
Yeah, that's what I was
yeah. Shout out to our guy Rio, man. It was not a good night for Rio's internet connection. I think Ed just hit him with another. Oh no, God damn it, Ed! I think Ed just hit him with another chair.
We are on the 40-second mark. If you guys want to go back, well, never mind. I'm not gonna say all that.
And there you go. There goes the chair shot, right? So,
but no, I got a lot of smoke too tonight, man.
Oh,
So we are.
They spread the smoke around. The only one that didn't really get a lot of smoke tonight was Rico, man. Like I caught a well, I want to say a stray, but I did it to myself. So, but Rio, I gotta say, Rio, man, he threw me a beautiful assist, bro. Like I really tried to get myself into some trouble tonight, and Rio was like, "Nah, bro, I got it. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna take that
I'll take
off.
all
I'm
the
gonna take that pressure off of you tonight, bro. Don't worry about it. But no, take all that attention away."
I do think the Rio when it made that weird noise, like the radio signal.
Yeah,
I do think that was like the 40-minute mark. But no, he's gonna get it together. This is the first time.
Another chair shot. And couldn't help himself. And had to go to the announcer's table, get the phone up, slide under that bottom rope, right? Yeah. Rio's over there on the apron celebrating. He turns around and Ed just had to crack his cranium back. Bow! Right? He had to tell y'all exactly where to go in the video to find, his shit was definitely on some poltergeist shit tonight, though. It was really crazy.
It was scary.
It was wild. It was definitely haunted. So we'll be back next week in full force with all four of the Kings doing what we do best, making y'all laugh, entertaining y'all, having fun, and most importantly, talking Commanders football. Y'all know how this goes, man. If you come at these Kings, you best not miss. Until next time, for all of the Kings out there, for Rio, Rico, Ed, and myself, peace. And shout out to Gabe. Y'all know what it is.